like now we have like this thing called top fans. Hello, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Random Fandom. I'm your host Ravenwood, and this is go to give me a bloody second. This is why I hate touch screens.
I'm being obscured.
This is worse.
This is terrible.
Oh no, biblically accurate Random Fandom.
You went into that with so much energy, and then
Hello everyone. I am so sorry about that weird. Uh, I thought I fixed the camera and everything before this live stream started, but then no, the camera decided to betray me. The camera
just
decided.
leave it. Just leave
The
it.
camera decided to betray me. You could scoot a little bit closer,
Nah, I'm good.
or I could scoot a little.
I'm just right here.
Alright.
Right here.
Or I could scoot a little bit closer.
Mm.
Now I could scoot that way a bit. Or no, I could scoot this way a bit. I did not. I'm so
The
sorry.
lens is this way.
No, now you need to scoot that way a bit.
Oh, I just get there, right there when I come.
There should be a way for me to be able to see what the I don't have the right technology for this.
Anyways, hello everyone. Welcome to another live stream episode of the Random Fandom. I'm your host, the Indominate Rex. Joined by me is your other host, my idiotic brother, Ravenwood.
Hi. Welcome back to the Random Fandom. I'm your host, Ravenwood. I know, but I'm just so used to saying that because like I do a whole lot of videos and whatnot. Anyways, well,
Fair enough.
we're not at the desk of the Random Fandom. We're at the couch.
The couch.
The couch of the Random Fandom.
We'll probably be here for a lot of episodes upcoming.
Well, yeah.
This couch is comfortable.
Well, no, it's not that. It's planning to move the Random Fandom yet again to like a different spot that just feels like it's more. That would be for streaming from now on. But this one's going to be like
the spot for streaming and the spot for making episodes. This is going to be
the homeless shelter of the and right now on
we
the couch.
We do look like a bunch of homeless bums right now at the moment. All right.
Well, yeah, there's no shelves.
For today's episode, we're going to be covering.
It should be obvious on the thumbnail.
Jurassic World Rebirth. We went to see it in theaters opening night. Actually, you don't need to show them that. That's a coloring. That's a coloring.
I wanted to show that.
It's mine.
Oh, that's yours.
Yes.
Well, okay, that's a nice coloring page.
Yeah.
We
went to see it opening night, July 2nd. And now we'd like to share our thoughts on the film. Just some thoughts here.
You first, or
obviously,
first?
There's going to be some spoilers. So you have been warned. If you haven't seen the movie yet, at least once, pause the video now, depending on when you're watching it, or if you're watching us live right now. Stop, get off,
or leave. What you could do is
go to the theaters. Go to the theaters now. Come out your window. Go to your car. Get in the vehicle.
You kind of or skip.
Just go to theaters. Watch the movie at least once. Make sure you pay for the tickets and whatnot before you go into the theater. Watch the film at least once, and then you can go home and you can resume watching this video. With that being said,
so what we're going to do is because of the fact that I like to talk about the things that we like, we're going to talk about the things we don't like about the film, starting with you.
All right. Well. The thing is, about this film, I want to do a general overview.
Okay, yeah, let's do it
before we do that. So Jurassic World Rebirth. It is a Jurassic World movie.
And it is rebirthing.
It is basically a rebirth of the Jurassic World trilogy.
It's a
Now, does it necessarily fit the idea of the Jurassic World trilogy? No. As a matter of fact, it could stand alone as its own movie in the Jurassic universe.
If I might step in, it feels more like it's a cross in between Jurassic Park and Jurassic World with the.
It feels very much like its own standalone film.
I want to say it's a standalone film. It's literally called Rebirth.
I mean standalone film that it has no ties to the trilogies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I can see
it's its own standalone Jurassic movie. Like, yes, it's part of the Jurassic franchise, but it stands out so much on its own, and this is a good thing. I just want to say that it stands out as its own identity, and that's a good thing for a movie to do. General overview, I definitely think it's better than Dominion. It's a definite improvement. Dominion was such a letdown. It's not.
We're not talking about that.
No, I just want to say it's not that I found the movie to be bad or anything.
I did.
It was a letdown, and that's the word. That's all I'm gonna say for this stream because we're not talking about Dominion. It's definitely better than Dominion.
Cool.
It's better, in my opinion. Some of you may not agree with me on this. It's definitely better than Fallen Kingdom. It might be, in my opinion, better than the first Jurassic World movie. What are your thoughts?
Oh no. Okay. Well, we're not going to do like what we like about it first.
No, I'm asking.
Oh, scale. Okay, so I guess we can see it.
Do you, as a general overview, do you find it to be better than the Jurassic World trilogy movie?
I feel like, despite.
I mean, this is a Jurassic World movie, but I guess now it's a quadrilogy, but this doesn't tie into the first three Jurassic World movies. So I guess it's the Jurassic World trilogy and then the Jurassic World standalone movie.
Well, okay, so I don't hate it. So first off, right off the bat,
no.
I don't hate
not
it.
The question.
I know, but I'm trying to scale it. In order to scale it, I have to say things off my chest.
We do have different opinions about the film, so be prepared. There's going to be some sibling bickery in this video, as well as some difference of opinion between fans. So conversations may get a bit heated here.
I feel
so be prepared for that.
Well, okay, no. Here's the scaling, because while it's true, there's some things you could probably salvage from Fallen Kingdom. I always forget its name. I don't know why. I always remember Dominion, and for some reason, like, I forget the movie Dominion, but for some reason I replaced the name of Fallen Kingdom with Dominion instead, because it fits the name. It fits the name. It kind of fits the name, sort of. I understand what they're getting at. Like, oh, now the Jurassic animals are dominion over the world, and then they didn't really do that, sort of. Okay, but for the scaling, I have to say it's better than Jurassic World.
All right.
All three of them.
All three.
I say that because while in comparison to the first Jurassic World film, and I will say this, keep a pin
I'm
on
not
this.
saying anything.
Keep a pin on this this thought process, as for introducing us into a new category of the fandom, I guess, or into the new saga, whatever you want to call it.
A new chapter of the Jurassic.
It's not
franchise.
a park. It's a Jurassic series. It's not a park series. It's Jurassic World series, which they could go back to calling it Park. I'm just saying they could call it.
They could, but it's
That
no
I feel like
longer-
that would have been a
it's
better
no
title,
longer-
Jurassic Park Rebirth. Even
it's
though,
no longer a park, you know.
Well, but here's
I
the
get
thing.
what you're saying.
well, here's the thing. It's going. It kind of feels like it's going. It literally does feel like it's going back to Jurassic Park and stepping away from Jurassic World.
No, I get
Even
you.
though it's called Jurassic World.
So back to the overview
But
for a second.
no, hold on, no.
Just,
Back to what I'm trying to say. It feels like it's doing a better job of getting you into the first chapter, into the
first trilogy.
into the not just the first trilogy, into the world that they're trying to introduce. Okay, the composite is it's now essentially everything about the dinosaurs are now going downhill. So how do we make it go? How do we bring it back? Now they haven't done the whole how do we bring it back yet, but they're kind. I feel like that was kind of sort of more like
it was a suggestion.
I feel like this movie is more like a kind of just like kind of a
easing into
it. It does, yeah.
If anything, this movie did feel a lot like it was a prelude to the next film.
It feels like
let's be honest.
Yeah, it feels like
dinosaur movies do make a lot of money, and Universal will probably make another Jurassic film.
It's not
so. That's why I'm saying this feels like it's a prelude to what the next film will be.
So ranking. Unfortunately, I have to say it. Not unfortunately, fortunately, and I know this sounds weird, but this probably a lot of people are like, "Nah, this is bad take or whatever." It feels like it's just better. It just feels like it's better than Jurassic World. So in ranking 1, 2, 3, Rebirth, World, Fallen Kingdom, and Dominion.
I will say this is a movie that general audiences will love. Buddy and I went to see it in theaters. Of course,
it has the lowest kill count now.
This idiot bought a ticket and booked a seat five spaces away from where I was.
Because the other seats were taken, and y'all didn't tell me that
we were sitting on the opposite side of the theater, and he was on the
I was sitting next
to row.
I was sitting next to a man that was built like a brick, versus a woman who had her family next to her, and she seemed friendly, but I was like, are you looking at me? Because I haven't said a word to you. And he wasn't paying attention to me. He was just staring at the screen, and then he was staring at his phone. It's like, bitch! I really want to say something to this man. I'm like, get your fat thumbs off the phone. I can see the light is and I literally had to turn off I literally turned off my watch in courtesy of others, because my watch is also acts like a flashlight, and whenever I move my arm, I didn't want to accidentally blind the nice lady next to me. I get it. And so this guy was on his phone. Oh,
general overview. It is a movie that I think general audiences will enjoy. Let's.
Oh no! I was still not. I was still nodding at the fact that this guy who's bigger than me, it looked like he could go. He looked like he could. I'll be dead in a second. I'll be like, please don't hurt me. I just laughed.
Something that general audiences would enjoy. Now, some specific critics, YouTubers, and people who overall watch these for the story and the lore might find some fault with it, because it is not a perfect film.
It's oddly fast paced, but at the same time, there were some moments where I just like it kind of no. I actually wish it was kind. I actually wish they would kind of slow down at certain points.
We'll get to that in a bit.
But there was one point in the movie where it was a little too long. Okay, sorry.
We'll get to that in a moment. But to finish our general overview, what we think of it. Overall, really enjoyable.
Oh yeah.
My initial review of the film, and I've only seen it once, but after watching it, I can give it a solid 8 out of 10. Two demerits that I want to give the film.
There was
What would you rank it? What would you rank it? Stuff.
I already did my ranking, but I just want
No, you didn't. You didn't say what number 1 out of 10.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Before I say that, there was oddly there was a moment where the crowd clapped, but the movie wasn't over, and then there was a moment
Because there was a moment they enjoyed. And
yeah, everyone had. There was a moment where everyone had this like particular. I think it was the moment where, spoilers. The guy had fell, and everyone thought he was going to die. The scientist guy, I forgot his name.
Oh,
They're not.
Lewis.
That's another thing. These names are not
Henry
memorable.
Lewis.
Oh, Henry Lewis. Okay, these names are not memorable except for
They're pretty memorable.
Well, I mean, their names are not memorable because I can remember Duncan.
Zora
I can remember
Duncan,
Duncan.
Henry Lewis.
They
Now,
shot
I'll
the
say
names.
Robert Fiend's character, not very memorable in my opinion.
Which one's Robert?
He with the villain.
No, he was memorable. I really liked him.
I just don't remember his name.
Okay, I'll give you that. I don't remember his name. I do remember Bobby, but here's the thing. I remember some of the names because they shout their names. And in most of these Jurassic Park films, they're like, shouting your name. Hey, huh? Yeah, everyone's
Amanda, honey, Dr. Grayson. I will say
yeah.
this as part of the
There's
general
not
level. This does feel like a more
I don't remember the little girl's name.
A larger budget Jurassic Park 3. Yeah, it was Isabella.
Oh, Isabella. Okay. Here's another thing. A lot of these names are also like usually short or they're memorable, I guess. Dotson, okay, short name because Isabella. That sounds like Isabella feels out of place because it sounds like a princess name.
I suppose we would have to go back and rewatch it again. In order to, I suppose we would have to go back and rewatch the movie in order to fully memorize all the names of the characters. Yeah. Or we can look it up.
Oh, I understand that, but I'm just saying, like, there's just like with some of the names with the previous Jurassic Park names are so easy to remember. John Hammond, John and Hammond, right? John. Anyways,
I think it's good that this is a film that makes you try and remember the character name because it makes you go back to try and look it up. It keeps interest.
Or what's the guy's name? Esposito. What's his name?
Which one?
The guy, the teenager guy who had his shirt off.
The boyfriend?
Yeah, the boyfriend. The boyfriend.
I think it was Xavier.
Xavier.
No, just Xavier.
Xavier. Oh, it's fine. It's okay. Okay, they're fine names. There's just for some reason I just could not like remember.
Well, we're going into
but we're ranking. Going back at the ranking.
Back to the general.
But the general overview. I don't know why it stuck out to me. Why the names was like I felt important. Oh,
your ranking.
No, I was going.
I gave it
the clapping. I was talking about the clapping. I was talking about the clapping. Yeah. There was a lot there was a moment where like people were like,
okay,
thinking he was going to die.
We can get to that in a moment.
Okay. I know.
You to tell the ranking.
But like, it's because I was going to explain why. I was going to explain why. But anyways, with Henry, I have to say, if there's a movie that can make the audience clap at a random moment, or gasp, or make some sort of emotion, collectively, not just one idiot in the audience laughing at some silly moments that would be me. I will admit I'm bad at doing that for some reason.
He's very bad.
I've gotten better at not talking. But that probably because there was a guy that was next to me that was brick as hell.
He has not gotten better.
He was a Goliath. I gotten better
He's
at not talking.
The only times he will shut up is when there's a big brick of a man sitting next to him.
Guy looked like a villain from Fishy Tales, the squash. I don't mean to make fun of him.
No. He looks like the giant cucumber from the David and Goliath episode. You know, that big-
I'm talking about width and height. This guy was
the great
just
big
built.
squash just sat on my hat.
I hope this guy,
if you're watching this episode,
and if you're like, wait a minute, I
promise
it's
you,
all
we
good,
mean
Phil.
no-
I'm
we
skinny.
mean no-
Okay,
we
you gotta make
mean
fun
no
of me.
We mean no disrespect. This is all in good
I'm
fun.
skinny. He's skinny
We're
too.
we're not trying to poke fun at anyone or toss shade. We say all this in good. If you take offense, we're sorry.
If anything,
you
I was
can dislike the
intimidated.
video
So
if you want to.
yeah, I was. If anything, I
It's
was
just-
intimidated by your mere presence.
We're basically walking sticks.
So yeah, just don't
Yeah.
meet me in the back alley and go. What did you say to me? What do you say about me? My name's Ben Grant.
Oh God, you upset the thing.
He wasn't ugly. I will say that he wasn't ugly. He was just big.
Now, please, back on topic.
All right.
Back
If
on
anyways,
topic. Your ranking.
Okay, but anyways, if a movie can make like a general audience like collectively
Clap,
make noises,
gasp, laugh.
not just
anything.
one or two people like laughing at one funny scene or clapping at one.
We get what you're saying. No,
I feel like it does nail a 5.
Yeah.
Okay, so it nailed a 5, but for me, it's somewhere between a 6 and a 7, like a 6.8, 6.9, or 6.99999, right? Anyways, and a 7, 7.1 maybe. So it's somewhere between that range.
So you don't have a definitive.
I don't have a definitive because that's just it. It feels like this movie doesn't have a definitive rate, a definitive scale.
I want to.
Because it's like there's
For me, it was a definitive 8.
For you, but like for me, like it just. I don't know. It just feels like I would need another movie. Give me another movie now to like solidify that. Because like,
well, we've gotten over
yeah.
the general overview. Now we can actually talk about the film and stuff without throwing stuff off. Just that.
But like, it's just
so.
For my general overview, if we're to generally
Okay, but you weren't doing a general overview. You were just talking about random moments in the movie.
Oh, it's not just a random movie.
We can't.
I'm
go
not
there
trying.
yet.
I'm not trying to talk about a random moment in the movie. I'm trying to
We have to
describe one moment
topic.
in the movie and just kind of like the fun. You
Okay,
distracted
we
me.
have to stay on topic.
But anyways, okay. Now, so bad scenes. Go.
Well, I'm not going to go over scenes just yet.
Bad thing about the movie.
Not quite there yet either.
How you feel? What is the negativity of the film? You can do.
Let me.
Fine. What do you want to do with that?
Well, we do our general overview. Now we go over the actual review of the film. I think that's how the things work.
No. I'm doing this because I'm like I already have the essay.
He's already got the receipt.
I already have the script, 10 pages long,
All right, but
and 10 pages wide. It's a map.
We've done our general overview and some silly banter. So
Yeah. Small mini
we're already off to a great
Hey, it's
start.
nice 20 minutes. I got us
now
the 20
now
minute
we
mark.
can
That's
do
good.
our actual review. So Jurassic World Rebirth. Overall, it is a film where the plot is simple. It's easy to follow. You can basically flip the switch, and for Buddy,
I
there's
hate
no
the
need
beginning of the movie.
for Buddy. There's no need to flip a switch. There's nothing in there.
No,
So it was easy for him.
It's no.
It was so easy, even he could follow it.
No.
But basically,
no. See, I don't need to flip a switch.
the simple plot was
All the wires are
that
already plugged in.
it was easy to follow, but the plot was basically this: the main antagonist, quote unquote, or Rupert Friend's character, he was driving around. He was driving around in traffic in a city. I forgot what the city was he was in.
New York, I think.
New York, probably. And at the beginning, there's an Apatosaurus, a Jurassic World Apatosaurus, that's basically resting in traffic.
That was fun.
And that was fine. And from there, he meets Zora Bennett.
And also, don't forget,
which is Scarlett Johansson's
the
character.
movie also explained.
We're doing the review.
Okay, I know.
From there, he meets Zora Bennett's character. And it is revealed from that point that they were originally going to meet up to discuss. Well, basically, the discussion is over what he and his company. It's a pharmaceutical company. Parker Pharmaceutical. They want to take samples of DNA from 3 of the largest dinosaurs on the Earth currently. That being the Mosasaurus, the Titanosaurus, and the Quetzalcoatlus. 3 of the largest known creatures for land, sea, and air. Simple, straightforward. They need Scarlett Johansson's character, Zora Bennett, who is a special ops unit, to guide them safely through a restricted area, a place where people are not supposed to go. And from there, they meet Henry Loomis's character.
Were they using practical effects, or was I wrong? Because
they were using some practical.
Okay.
There was some CGI elements, some practical effect. There was a good solid.
No, I remember like the weird creature, the weird Dolores creature.
Equilops.
That was definitely CGI. That was definitely, you could tell, CGI. Was that
the backpack scenes? That was actually a puppet in the backpack.
No, I know that, but I'm talking about like when we first meet the creature.
We'll get into that in a moment.
Was it a mutant creature? Because
No.
Dolores did not look real. All right, correction. It did look real, but what I meant was it didn't look like anything.
It's an actual dinosaur.
It is?
The Equilops is not a very well-known dinosaur, but it is an actual dinosaur. You can look it up on your phone real quick.
Oh, well, no, not.
Equilops.
Not right now.
Right.
It's just
but basically, the idea is that they meet up with a bunch of characters, that being Zora Bennett, Henry Loomis, Duncan Kincaid, Bobby Aftwater, and a bunch of other characters on Duncan Kincaid's ship to sail to Isla de Hubert to gather DNA. Well, that's the name of the island. To gather DNA from 3 of the world's largest dinosaurs for a cardiovascular um, cure to heart disease. Basically, they were after um, these animals because they have large cardiovascular systems um, to produce a lot more antibodies, that sort of thing. So naturally, they produce more
Cut to the
needed
chase.
for heart. Right, right, right. So they go in, and naturally things don't go according to plan, and they end up uh, separated from the family character. Um, but basically the idea is they go in to this island, but they take a small detour on the way in where they find this family that had recently been attacked by the Mosasaurus because it had knocked the ship over while they were sailing across the sea. They rescue the family, continue on their way to the island, and they get stranded. And that's where they get separated, the family and the team.
Can I say something about the family and the team?
Not yet.
Okay.
We're doing the review first, not the criticizing yet. And the overall the basic plot that they go after their targets, they encounter some problems along the way in the form of these mutant creatures like the Mutodon, which are basically winged raptors. And of course the D-Rex. And on the family side, they encounter a lot of problems while just trying to survive and reach the village that they were told about while on the boat. They encountered the T-Rex, which was heavily spoiled in the TV spot trailers. Um, they they encountered Dolores, the Equilops, and they reunite with the team at the village, and they have a showdown with the Mutodons. They have a showdown with the D-Rex, and ultimately they get off the island. The D-Rex survives, which is the second villain to ever survive in a Jurassic movie, aside from the Spinosaurus. So it's already got one up on the Indominus, the Scorpius, the Indoraptor. Yeah, it's got one up on all of them, even the Giga.
Anyways,
That's the general review of the movie's plot. Now we can go into the criticizing of the movie. So you first, since you wanted to open your mouth the longest. We'll go into the criticizing of the movie now that we've covered the overall plot. It's a simple plot, not too easy, not too hard to follow. They go in, they get DNA, encounter some snags, secret villain, not so secret, tries to make a break for it. Big bad of the film shows up, and they escape at the end. That's the basic synopsis.
Okay.
Now, what scene would you say you want to criticize here? Why don't we start at the beginning? Start our criticizing there.
I hate. Sorry, no. I don't hate it strongly. I don't hate it strongly. I hate it. I hate the beginning. Okay, not necessarily the dinosaurs are dying. They're fleeing to the equatorial
equatorial regions.
I don't like. Okay, I will say this about that. don't like the double talk like about it. Like, oh, the dinosaurs are dying, and then the little screen tells you like they're fleeing, blah blah blah, right? And I kind of do like the little animation that they had for the TV for the commercial, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? I do like that, but I don't like it. It just feels like there's three different times when the movie is telling you dinosaurs are dying, whether it be by mouth by the characters, or if it be the movie telling you, or the little cartoon. And like dinosaurs are fleeing, dinosaurs are moving to the equator. The equator is they also have a disease or something that's also killing them or something.
Well, to be fair.
But however,
they haven't said anything about the disease.
Oh, I thought that they did.
No.
But anyways, that doesn't.
That's mentioned in the Lost World, but it's
I will say it does have a similar vibe to Jurassic Park 3, where it was like something miles, where they did the like something miles off of this island, and 17 years ago, and restricted. I really like the part where like in Jurassic Park 3 where they had this like restricted, right?
He's a big fan of Jurassic Park 3's opening.
I'm
gonna get too close, my friend, but not too close there.
Okay.
You don't want to be eaten.
Anyways, I really liked some of that, but it's just that meeting. Okay, so what I also didn't like, I found it funny, but I felt like they dragged the joke a little bit too long, a little too lengthy. It overstayed its welcome. The joke, aka the gag at the beginning of the movie, where he takes one of those breath mints or Mentos. Sorry, he takes a Mentos and she just goes, "Oh, I'm crunch."
The awkward moment.
Yeah, it was a little too awkward. And especially the
all right, this is where the real spoilers will kick in.
Yeah, I know. And also
been warned
again. There's also the beginning of the movie I also didn't like because of how just nonchalant and non-caring personality of Scarlett Johansson, and
that's not the impression I got from her.
She
character.
just didn't. To me, she just didn't feel like she was there. She didn't feel like an actual character.
Were we watching the same character?
No, I know that, but what I'm trying to say is like the way she just has her body language. She just feels like she's just, yeah, okay, yeah, just sarcastic, and it's just
have to rewatch this movie.
No, it's just no, I know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
She just
your analysis doesn't feel the same as what I review.
Okay, well, I say it existed. I mean, obviously she was there. She was talking to everyone there, but she didn't feel like she was just not interested in being in this movie, despite the interview. What she says in the interviews and whatnot, like she seemed energetic, she seemed excited, but
I understand
her character just didn't feel like she didn't feel real.
I understand that she felt distant.
Yeah,
at the beginning of the movie,
but the rest of the film,
she got a whole lot better.
A whole lot better, but only in the sense of like I feel like she's still stuck in the role as playing as Black Widow.
No.
Well, Chris Pratt separated that sort of. He sort of. Well, I say this. It kind of sort of felt like they. I feel like the directors. I feel like with the directors. I feel like this is such a mistake of the directors.
I didn't get the whole Black Widow vibe from her.
Well, I would say I'm talking about like the personality of Black Widow, kind of. Anyways, let me finish.
I have to disagree with you on that.
I'm talking about like the action hero vibe that I get from them, especially with well, okay. What I'm trying to say is with Chris Pratt, yes, he didn't have the same personality as Peter Quill, which is cool. But it feels like the directors are like making him as an action superhero.
He still felt
because
like a
of the fact,
Marvel superhero.
yeah, he still felt like a Marvel superhero, and in the same, the same almost. I will say this: it almost applies to Scarlett Johansson because it just kind of just felt like, just like there's just nothing there. There's no.
Well, I mean, that's your opinion.
And I understand that
I
she's supposed to feel.
personally
Let me
disagree.
finish. I feel you. I know you personally. You said that 3 times. What I'm trying to say is with.
Hello, viewer. Welcome to our review.
I'm trying to say with like. It falls. It just feels shallow. She doesn't feel like a separate character here. She does get better, but only because the action kicks in. I guess. And that's the best way I could describe her. So it's really hard to me to like her character until she started talking to Henry, actually. Whenever she talked to Henry or whatnot, it actually felt like she was actually getting into a character of some sort. But it did. I understand that she's supposed to be like a mercenary, right?
Spec Ops.
The Spec Ops. But like, they've had maybe not Spec Ops, but people with the similar personalities in previous films that had better, in my opinion. Roland felt
Roland
like the stern. Okay, when I'm talking about like the stern, stoic kind of characters, like we have to be careful. Let me chew on my toothpick. When it comes to that type of. It feels like she was trying too hard to be that kind of character, but also by somehow not doing that character, but only when it. Sorry, the adjustment. It only felt like only when.
Never do that on screen.
No, I was just adjusting.
Never do that on screen again.
It was just a quick.
You don't need to flash the.
I wasn't flash. No, it's just a quick adjustment of the seating right here.
I don't know. Our audience might disagree.
I didn't do anything. I literally didn't do anything.
Right. Anyways, well,
in a sense of anything. But anyways, going back to what I was saying.
Well, you've done your review at the beginning. Now I'd like to do my review.
Okay. Well, let me kind of finish here for a second, because like it going back to like the beginning. Okay, okay, so the villain, he seemed a little bit too much in a haste.
He seemed to be eager.
I feel like there was he seems a little too eager. I understand that there was a characteristic that they were going for that, but I feel like that characteristic should have been more so later on in the film, which it happened later on in the film. But I feel like to have a character that constantly feel eager and constantly feel hasty and whatnot, it just kind of just like spoils the surprise if they're trying to. But I feel like at the same time, maybe they weren't supposed to go for a surprise villain to the audience, but surprise villain to the characters. You kind of don't want to have red flags this early. Does that make sense? Yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. I just want you to remember that analysis for the future.
He was hasty.
Yes, I know. I know. I know, Ribbon. I know. All right.
But what are you talking about? Explain yourself, sir.
Don't worry about it.
No. Tell me. He was just too eager. He was just too hasty. He just had this red flag of just a jitterbug. Just someone just want to get things done and just want to like, okay, let's just turn the page. Come on, here we are.
I wouldn't say so much a jitterbug, but I understand what you mean by
And I'm like,
him
okay,
saying
fine, I'll pay
he
you
was
200.
he
I'll
was
pay you.
definitely eager to get going.
Yeah,
And I
and,
can understand that.
and well, okay, we'll get to
You've
that scene
given
later.
yeah,
But yeah,
well, we've given your
it's
thoughts
just
on the beginning of the film. I'd like to step in. I'd like to
Duh.
toss my hat into the ring.
oh, but I'm not done with the beginning. Yeah.
Well,
Well, I'm
I'd
just
like
talking
to
about the
get
characters done.
started.
Well, okay, I got the three. I guess I got the three characters done. I do like his character.
True.
I do like his character, but it's just, and I feel like he was the only character that was making sense out of all the characters in the film,
Well, at certain
with the
points,
exception of that one girl, the one girl that was part of the crew that had nothing. That she and him and her and the other black guy.
the
French guy. What was his name?
Oh,
Other than Frenchman, we can't call him Sir John Frenchman.
I don't. I honestly don't remember his name, and that's not because he was forgettable. It's because I've
No, he
always-
was.
no.
I like him.
not. Yeah,
No, he was not forgettable.
He was enjoyable.
He was enjoyable.
It's just that we only saw the film once, so I don't remember his name. I have to look it up.
But I do want to say is like they're just nothing characters. Even the Bobby character.
No.
Yes, let's be
No.
real here. It was obvious they
They
were
were
going to
not-
get killed.
But
Seymour,
they were not nothing.
Seymour,
characters.
Seymour 2 and Seymour 3 all
They were
felt like
not nothing characters.
Dad,
though.
tell me who was the bald-headed girl? Why was she so
She
important?
was not bald-headed.
She was bald-headed.
She was not bald.
We had to see the movie again. Okay, the thinly haired woman.
She had short hair, but she had short black hair.
That's basically bald.
No, it's not basically.
Kind of.
Bald is bald.
Okay,
If
well,
you have hair, you have hair.
well, okay.
It was shortly kept like a military haircut.
Oh well, okay, fine.
It's basically like the haircut you and I got when you were 9 and I was 8.
Well, okay, fine. She was an important character. You could tell that she had the flag of death all over her, like the skull. You could tell, literally, you could tell which characters were going to die from point A to point B.
Yeah, but I was hoping that the French dude didn't die. Yeah, I enjoyed him.
I enjoyed it too, but it was obvious that he was going to die.
Well, it was obvious that the first two characters were going to die.
I'll be right back.
Bobby Aftwater and the woman. It was obvious they were going to die, but it wasn't obvious how they were going to die. Like,
Well, that's true.
but with the French character, it wasn't that obvious he was going to die, you know? Sure, you could never understand what he was saying until the subtitles came up for his character to speak. But like, just the way he was having
He just had a fun personality.
He had a fun personality.
And
you were secretly hoping that he'd survive.
Yeah, but like it was kind of obvious that they're all gonna die.
Not necessarily obvious.
Yeah, well, okay. Anyways,
maybe for you.
Going back.
But criticisms aside there, going back to the beginning, I'd like to say that my overall opinion at the beginning is that, yes, it was a little rushed.
Oh, wait, we haven't talked about the prologue scene.
Well, we can get there in a minute.
Okay.
The beginning of the film, I did feel was a bit, but before going into that,
It did feel rushed. It's just
you've had your time.
okay. Well, you kind of just steamrolled the.
Over
characters.
your time, you went over everything.
I didn't. I did not
You did.
go over everything.
You did. You covered.
I
all
covered
of it.
the characters and
You
what I
covered
didn't like about
20
them.
whole minutes worth of time.
That because I just have a longer sheet of paper.
Well, we're not going to be able to cover the list, but you have to shorten it.
This is a live stream. It's supposed to be a bit ranty. Anyways, continue.
But, Well,
We're
I'd
not gonna
love
do this.
to.
We're
I'd
not gonna
love
do this
to
about
if
every
I'd
scene.
love to if you just
Okay.
should.
Okay. Sorry.
Um, so the beginning of the movie, we can talk about the prologue a bit.
Mhm.
The opening scene, um, I have a little nitpick. Um, Overall, I enjoyed the opening quite well. But my one nitpick with that scene is that uh, basically everything went to hell because this man dropped the Snickers wrapper on the floor, and it got sucked into the airway of the ceiling door of the door
The
ceiling,
vents in
and
the
it got
door.
sucked underneath the door and
Well, it got
clogged up
the doors.
the ventilation system, and it caused a malfunction. Now, generally, if you're going into a room where everybody is wearing hazmat suits and everything, you normally wouldn't bring a Snickers in there. So I feel like that scene in particular, all of it could have been avoided. Was it funny? Yes. Did that guy get his comeuppance? Absolutely.
I don't think he
He
deserved it.
got no, he didn't deserve it, but he got punished for it in the most cruel way possible. But I mean, like, if you're going to be irresponsible, you're going to pay the price. Um, it doesn't answer how the D-Rex escapes, though, because it just implies that it escaped because the doors got stuck open. But the D-Rex just grabbed the guy and then walked off to finish his meal in peace. But I guess somewhere in between that opening credits and where the movie picks up, the lab falls apart um, after the evacuation. The D-Rex escapes during that period of time, but that happens off screen. I would have loved to have seen how the D-Rex got out, uh, but I understand that they were working with a limited budget. So, I will forgive that they couldn't get everything they wanted all on screen. Maybe if they release an extended edition like they did with Dominion, we'll see some of
Oh, there
it.
was an extended edition of the Hat to Trash.
Buddy, we watched the extended edition.
I don't remember.
The extended edition had the opening scene in the prehistoric time period with Rex battling the
Oh,
Giga.
the commercial. Okay.
Yeah. There was also some extended scenes in the extended edition.
Okay.
But that aside, maybe they'll release an extended edition like they did them.
But it
Who
shouldn't.
knows? But until then, that's my one gripe about the opening scene. But moving on to the rest of the opening of the movie, it does start off with a bit of a slow city scene at first that leaves you just wondering, all right, where are we going to go from there? This character is stuck in traffic because of an Apatosaurus. Where does he go from there? He gets out of his car to see things for a minute, gets back in his car to find Scarlett Johansson's character Zora Bennett staking him out. The characters take a moment to talk and discuss their ideas. Hello, welcome to the stream. If you haven't seen Jurassic World Rebirth, please brace yourself because there will be spoilers. Until then, you have been warned.
Continue.
But Rupert Friend's character and Scarlett Johansson's character, Zora Bennett, they have a conversation, and Rupert Friend's character, he offers her a large sum of money that would allow her to get out of her Spec Ops career. She could finally retire from this job that has apparently traumatized her to some degree because she's clearly not over some of the stuff she's been through. She just got off of a mission that went wrong, and she lost a friend in the process. And her way of getting or coping with that was to throw herself into another mission. And then Rupert Friend's character, for the life of me, I just can't remember. If any of you who have seen the movie remember that character's name, please let us know in the comments, or we'll look it up ourselves here in a minute. You could be doing this.
Okay, fine.
But he offers her a way out, enough money to finally retire to a slow, quiet life. And she takes it. But after making the deal, he revealed that they're going to require a civilian's help before going to this undisclosed location that is clearly not available to the public, a restricted place. But they're going there. But they need the help of a civilian to do it. In addition to Scarlett Johansson's character, Zora Bennett, because as a special ops agent, she excels at keeping people safe.
There's Zora Bennett, Dr. Henry Loomis, Teresa Delgado, who, yes, was bald. Delgado. Where have I heard Delgado before?
Luna Blaze. She wasn't bald in the movie.
Oh no!
These are their real life.
Oh no, these are that was the sister. Oh, sorry, my bad. Teresa Delgado, Ruben Delgado, and Elizabeth Delgado, Xavier Dog, Duke Kincaid. Scoot that way, please. Bobby Altwater, Nina is the girl. Nina was the girl. And Leclerc. Yeah, I remember that's his name. Yeah. Nina, let's see.
All right. Well, what about Rupert Friend's character?
Oh, no, she wasn't bald. She had hair.
I told you.
I thought she was bald for some reason.
Well, once again, we can add this to the tally chart. Raven's wrong.
Well, only because she's forgettable.
You're forgettable.
She is forgettable.
Not to me. I will never forget the Jurassic character. No matter how ridiculous, even
she's not ridiculous. She just does not exist in the movie, other than just being a person.
Her death scene was pretty memorable. Like that, just how brutal it was, even though it was censored. Now, going back to my criticism at the beginning, I feel like it opened up a bit slow burn, a slow burn opening, and we do meet Henry Loomis. The meeting was enjoyable. I enjoyed meeting Henry Loomis's character. As opposed to Zora Bennett's character and Rupert Friend's character, because they are just kind of, it opens with him in the city driving his car, and then all of a sudden she's there, and then they have their meeting. But with Henry Loomis, they actually go to the museum and they meet him there, and they have their conversation. So it was enjoyable getting to meet him because you get a bit of his personality in there. Now, yes, I will agree with Ruben on there was one scene that overstayed its welcome a bit.
I didn't mind
him munching on a Mentoids.
I didn't mind it. It's just
no.
It's just way too long.
Yeah, I'm just saying it overstayed its welcome a bit. I didn't mind it, so I can forgive it. That's a nitpick.
Mm-hmm.
but it was an enjoyable opening overall that led into them going to meet Duncan Kincaid's character, played by Maharsh, um, where they meet character Duncan Kincaid and Bobby Abel.
They should have cut it.
No,
They should have cut it for the theatrical release but add it for like the extended version.
Nah,
Because
I disagree with you.
Because it's just, and I feel like there could have been a way to rewrite the entire movie to where I would have liked this movie much better if the focus wasn't on the team. Instead, if it was actually focused on the family.
Meh.
And I want to
disagree.
explain. I want to explain because I feel like
but
there's a better way to construct how this movie is
before we get into that. Where they go to meet Duncan Kincaid, and there they explain that he's the best at what he does at moving people in and out of locations that people shouldn't be getting into. They kind of size up Rupert Friend's character's wallet. They kind of stoke him a bit for what he's worth. He agreed to their demands. They milk him, and he agreed to their demand. He agreed to their demands, and from there they agreed to go in to Isle St. Hubert. And some things I want to pick out about this scene in particular. We see during the beginning of the scene, there's a Dunkleosteus falling out of a fisherman net. And I'm like, oh, wow. Like, they have the Dunkleosteus in this movie, but we don't exactly get to see where this Devonian era creature came from. But then again, genetic power is out there in the world, so I guess these marine creatures are just swimming around out there now. And we see, of course, the jawbones of a creature that people have been wanting to see in the Jurassic franchise for the longest period of time, other than the Mosasaurus, that has only ever been in the Jurassic World Evolution video games. And that at the Megalodon, we finally get to see the jawbones of a Megalodon in the film. Not the actual Megalodon, but it is implied that there are Megalodons out there. Or like there was one out there.
Okay, no offense, but it feels like you're just retelling the story.
No, I just wanted to express something. I just want to express something that I found really cool.
Okay, go
on. Now, obviously, this particular discussion scene where they were milking Rupert Friend's character. Was it Martin Krebs? Was that his name?
What?
The villain, his name. Was it Martin Krebs?
Krebs.
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 No. It was No, yeah, it was Martin Krebs. What?
I knew it. So they milk Martin Krebs for all he's worth. In order to get them to go, and they set sail. Now, I will say that this scene felt a little milked, like they were stretching it out for as long as they could make it. I personally enjoyed it. I think they can leave it in. So, despite what you say, Raven, I think they were fine leaving that scene in.
It's fine.
It allowed for us to meet Duncan Kincaid and Bobby Avawater.
I know. I understand.
As
having
well
scenes
as,
to where
Lequad.
I feel like I understand having suits introducing the characters, but I feel like this should have been more of an.
Lecrae.
But I feel like this should. Lecrae.
Lecrae.
I feel like this should have been more of a, and some random guy with long hair.
Well, they were playing poker, and then they all split up.
But they should have
when
added
business.
them into the film, because
they were just random fishermen playing poker.
I know
They
that,
weren't
but like
part of
it
his
felt
crew.
like they could have added them into the film to add a more kill count.
That's one thing Raven hates about Jurassic.
This movie
is
had
that
the
when
least
there's-
amount of kills, except with the exception of people outside of the off screen kills. It did.
Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, Jurassic World Dominion. There wasn't a whole lot of kills in those films.
No, because there were some kills. There was a decent amount of kills in Fallen Kingdom.
Kingdom, yeah, but
Dominion definitely did.
Dominion had that smuggler guy that took Maisie and Beta. It had that one guy on the scooter, and
but there was definitely like obviously some certain people that were probably being. You can just imagine like so many people.
Not really. That Carnotaurus and the Allosaurus just were making people run away.
But you can definitely tell that certain.
Only one guy on the scooter got eaten.
I just feel like they.
Anyways. One guy fell into a fiery pit during that whole underground
It
market.
doesn't matter. Okay, but
and then two Dodson died to a Dilophosaurus groupie attack.
I feel like there were more.
But I mean, like
kills. I think there were more kills in that film because.
I mean, yeah, the Giga counts as a death, but not.
No, I'm talking about human characters.
No, that was just 4.
I'm pretty sure there were more
just
kills
4.
in that film.
I did a count. There was 4. Now this film
dead, but there was a skull.
There
was a skull by the. There was a skull obviously killed. Not the skull. The scene with a lot of the sailbacks, the small tiny sailbacks. I forgot what they're called. In the scene where Dr. Alan Grant needed his hat.
The Dimetrodons.
Dimetrodons. There was a scene where there was a skeleton.
That doesn't count.
He's dead. He was killed by them.
Yeah, but that's not a movie. It obviously happened in a separate timeline. But
it happened in the film.
No, it didn't.
That should count.
It doesn't count.
He's dead. He's not.
4 people died.
Okay, he's off screen. Okay, so I feel like there's some off screen.
That
kills.
miner could have died in a mining accident before the Dimetrodons got there.
So there's obviously a lot of off screen kills in that film.
Those don't count. We're talking about on screen kills.
5.
There was only 4 in Dominion. Whereas in Rebirth, you had, let's see, there was that guy in the opening scene who got killed by the Distorters.
Yes. And then, of course, there was an off-screen kill.
There was Bobby Applewater who got yoinked by the Spinosaurus, Sobek specifically. You had Nina, who was yoinked by the other Spinosaurus that were chilling on the beach.
The Spinosaurus did too many kills.
Just
out of all the creatures.
Hold on. Let me see.
The moment Nina.
Oh yeah. There was Lecrae who got gulped by the Quetzalcoatlus.
It was such a that was actually the most horrifying kill in my opinion.
And well,
because it was such a surprise.
To me, I'd say Martin Krebs' death was the most gruesome. Martin Krebs getting like obliterated by the Distortus Rex.
That's fine. It wasn't that.
Well, to me, it felt personal. Like the Distortus was making that death personal.
I don't know. It's fine. Oh, don't forget the Velociraptor since you want to count dinosaurs.
No, I said the Giga technically would have counted as a death, but we're only counting humans.
Well, whatever.
That's why Dominion only has 4. Rebirth had 5.
I feel like if we're going to count dinosaurs, the Xenosaurs killed something else.
Therizinosaurus killed a deer.
Yeah, it killed a deer. That thing was
Rebirth had 1 more death than Dominion did.
Oh, it just feels lackluster somehow.
He gets so like petty when there's not enough death and destruction.
Yeah.
Nothing will ever scratch his itch like the Lost World did.
Well, no, see,
he wants death and destruction in a Jurassic World.
Somehow the first film had it still kept its stakes despite not that many people being killed.
Jurassic Park had,
and it was scary.
Dennis Nedry died. Robert Muldoon died. Mr. Arnold died, and the lawyer died. That's 4.
That's 4.
The same amount of Dominion. Which means there was more death and rebirth than the first film.
But the stakes still felt high because you got you got Tim and you got the girls who were basically Tim and Lex who were basically injured. Everyone looked like they were injured and whatnot.
The kids were about to be crushed by that Rex.
And yeah.
Rexy was taking names in those days.
And then there was the fact that every character looked like they were injured. That's another thing. Not every single character was injured in Dominion, which it makes Jurassic Park better in that case.
And then the Lost World Jurassic Park, just a lot of people died.
Well, yeah, there was a lot of people.
A lot of people died. Even David Kep died.
Kep Cretaceous somehow added more kill count to where not by all the other dinosaurs in Camp Cretaceous, but in season 1 with the Indominus Rex.
Hold on a second.
That kind of added.
A second.
Two more people were killed by Indominus Rex.
The Lost World Jurassic Park. There was a lot of deaths. I'm not even going to try and remember who all died. Jurassic Park 3, obviously, Cooper died. Udesky died. Nash died. Ben died. Ben died. And yeah, that's 4.
Here's someone that was also nearly died. There was who nearly.
We're not counting near death.
Well, but here's the thing, though. It actually, while it's not a true death, it still raised the stakes to where. Granted, it was ripped away. Yeah, Billy. Granted, it was ripped away from us.
Well, it was almost death, but 4 deaths.
And they were all injured.
Park 3.
They were all injured.
Rebirth had more death than Jurassic Park 3.
Remember the scratching?
Yeah. Jurassic World.
They don't like to injure their characters.
No, the Jurassic World trilogy just. All the main characters had plot armor, so.
Well, okay, no, with the exception of Claire. Claire was injured at least. She was stabbed. She
was stabbed by the Indo.
But then there was a.
I will give Fallen Kingdom credit where credit is due. It's leagues above Dominion.
This film, at least, had some people injured. I will say. The what's his name? The dad character.
Let them look it up.
The dad character had a broken leg.
Mr. Delgado. He didn't have a broken leg. He had a twisted ankle.
Whatever, broken, twisted. That seems broken to me. Yeah, Ruben
Delgado.
Ruben. He said, "I want to have a Reuben right now." It's just a nice, Reuben sandwich.
I know.
I want to have a Reuben. I know.
But regardless, We're getting off topic.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you're basically retelling the story to
No,
the
I'm
audience. Yeah.
not.
Yes, you are.
No,
So
I'm
far, you
not.
have
No, I haven't been. I've just been going over some scenes.
some
Alright.
scenes, but
Oh,
yeah.
like you haven't been. All
Well,
you've been
I've
doing
been talking
is
about
criticizing.
criticizing the characters, which is important because that's
I know,
the
but
the
like you
film.
had to criticize the scenes too.
Okay, let me go back to the prototype scene. Okay,
Prototype scene.
why did I say the prototype scene? Well, no, it seems like
What, this puppy playtime, the
no,
movie?
I say prototype scene. It feels like a prototype scene in the sense of like how everything just feels like they just took re-assets, they just reused assets and whatnot of Jurassic World, and then just put the props. It looked like they reused props and the hallway scene, the orange stripes and everything. It's just
From Dominion.
yeah, from Dominion onto from Biosyn
Okay,
Dominion.
now I know you're taking that from the game.
I will take that for a bit, but only because I couldn't place the scene that where it looked familiar. It didn't feel engine. It didn't feel engine. And
I will
but I
say
will
there
say I
are
do like the. I will
there
say
are some reused assets in the film.
I will say that they do have the old computers, which does seem engine because of the fact that they granted we still I'm not certain if BIOS never used old computers, but anyways, continuing on from there, it that's the only complaint I have. It's just it looked like it was future. Uh, it was retro future tech, a little too alien, a little way, a little too much.
That
Like
seems like
it feels like something from from Alien, the Aliens franchise, where it had a lot of Wayland Yutani esque vibe to it. It felt
Well, that feels more like a nitpick than an actual criticism.
no, it does.
Which I will admit, this film does have a lot of nitpicks. But in terms of
in terms of structure of the film, I feel like if they
Gareth Edwards does deliver on visuals. Visually, the movie does look amazing.
it's fine up until until Dolores first gets introduced because that leaf that it was holding didn't look real. It looked like it was a rubber like a rubber like thing.
The fern leaf?
Yeah, the fern leaf didn't look real to me. It looked like it didn't had enough. It didn't look real for some reason. Like yeah,
I don't know. It looked like a regular ass fern leaf.
it didn't look like a regular fern. It looked like a one of those fake fern leaves that you find in stores.
We're gonna have to watch this movie again.
No, I know what I'm saying.
Remember. No, I'm saying you and I need to rewatch the movie again because you and I are remembering these scenes very differently.
It just didn't. It just felt like it was obviously CGI. If that makes sense.
Well, I don't know.
But anyways, no.
I'm just saying.
There is a small. That's a small criticism.
I remember it looking like a regular ass fern leaf.
But are we calling it ass leaf? Butt cheek?
It just looked like a regular plant leaf.
It didn't look real. It didn't look real to me.
Well, maybe to you. To me,
but everything else looked fine. But I do want to praise the movie. What I do want to praise the movie for was that they were actually in an actual jungle for it.
Well, they were in the jungle in the Lost World Jurassic Park as well. It does bring it back to the Jurassic Park series a bit, and how everything feels like they're in a jungle environment.
And they had to use the proper lighting for it because they were in a jungle.
Yeah, instead of everything being in these human. Not that there was anything
the
wrong.
green screen.
Not that there was. Well, I mean, obviously there was green screen elements to the film. There were scenes that obviously were green screened, but I mean, the rest of it, there were moments you could you just felt like they were in the actual world. And that's because they actually shot these shots
The
in actual areas,
the
in
one
actual
problem that I
parts of the
have
world.
with the gas station, it didn't look like it was properly abandoned. You can from the outside. Excuse me. From the outside, sorry, from the outside, it looked like it was abandoned, right? Like they had to just complete, like the cars didn't look like it was properly. Um, Everything from the outside looked like it was abandoned, and it looked old and whatnot. But in the inside, everything looked new, and so I'm like, I didn't like that. Now there's probably I know there's a lower reason, like it was probably like, oh, it's a yeah, oh, it's a it was a new village gas station or something, convenience.
Well, obviously, according
But
to the
it just
timeline,
didn't
everything was
feel
abandoned 17 years ago.
no. Well, it didn't feel abandoned because it felt like it was freshly stocked.
Well, I mean,
In Jurassic
a
Park
lot of
3,
that was
they had
a lot of
vending
that,
machines.
a lot of that was some branding.
You could have still at least like
Made
put
a lot
poo
of it.
water all over the.
Meh, a lot. You could have
I
made
said poo water,
everything.
but
You could have made everything look rustic.
yeah, or
The dark atmosphere did help a little bit in that regard, at least in my opinion, because
because
the interior of the building, the dark lighting and the darkened atmosphere
yeah, it was
did help
fine.
with that.
I did not like that fucking toy when the thing hit it or something.
When the muted on.
Yeah, when it repeated.
Yeah, I
its
just
words,
wanted
like,
it to
just
shut up. Just that was the one thing I was hoping the
that's
muted
something I
on
don't
would
like.
kill. I was like, kill it, muted on, please.
I
for
can
the love of
understand
all.
music chimes or something like that, but for a toy to repeatedly repeat a
Well, I mean, a
phrase,
toy
I didn't
is
like that.
a toy will do that.
I know, I understand that, but
You
like,
and I have had toys that did that.
I know, I understand that. I feel like it would have been better if it repeated a chime versus a phrase, and it just took the mood out. It took the mood out of me. Is what I'm trying to say. So you have to be careful what you do put in your films.
Well,
To have a goofy like,
I feel like that's another nitpick. For me, it was a scene that was fine. Because realistically, you would expect something like that in the gas station.
it's fine, but
I do have one criticism I'd like to go over as a little nitpick. One of my two demerits for the film. That's why it was an overall 8 out of 10 for me. And that is, and this is another big spoiler, that many of the dinosaurs we see in the film, we don't see ever again on screen because they just show up once and
yeah, it felt like
that's it.
They chopped it into 3 parts. Like it just felt episodic.
For the let's cover some scenes. The Mosasaurus and the Spinosaurus scenes. They were very great scenes. I found myself enjoying every second of it. I honestly felt like a kid in a candy store watching those scenes. I was like, "Ooh, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be good." Just watching the Mosasaurus play around with the boat, I'm like, this thing could destroy this at any moment. Now, one thing I will criticize, a little nitpick here, is that they they expect us to believe that this Mosasaurus, which clearly looks different uh, than the JW Mosasaurus, they really expect us to believe that this Mosasaurus is the fully grown version of that Mosasaurus. They expect us to believe that it's the same Mosasaurus years later, fully grown. Yes, it is actually bigger than the Jurassic World Mosasaurus that was in the lagoon. It was
also
it was huge.
another thing I
But
would say.
I mean, like This was clearly a different design. It had those whale-like lines on its belly. It had that fin on its tail and everything. It lost the osteoderms on its back. I'm like, this is clearly a different mosasaur.
There's also another thing I wanted to point out.
Uh,
There was no
It's
predatorial.
the same one.
There was no predatorial competition. I'm not necessarily saying that there needed to be a dinosaur fight. I'm not saying that. Which is one thing that this movie did not have was dinosaur fights, which is okay. I don't mind not having dinosaur fights.
Well, let's be real here.
Let me before you go on to your rant.
I have to say this. It's a real quick thing. All the other films. Hey, I warned you there was going to be some little skirmishes here.
No, it's just I can't get a word in.
You did. You've gotten several words in, and you cut me off equally.
That's fair. Sorry.
Yeah, so don't go off on your high horse, mister. Yeah. You won't go wrong.
No, I will cut the stream off.
I just poked at your hat.
No, you poked at my eye right here.
Oh, well, sorry about that. I just meant to poke your hat. All good fun, though. All good fun. We don't mean...
Just say you're sorry.
Hostility. I'm sorry. I'm just saying we don't mean any hostility to each other. We get a little hostile during
not hostile. It wouldn't be the right word.
Anyways.
Annoyed.
Let's get back on track here. But the little nitpick here is that all the previous Jurassic World movies, from the first Jurassic World to Fallen Kingdom to Dominion, there's to Jurassic Park 3, even Jurassic Park 3, Jurassic World, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, and Jurassic World Dominion, all those movies had some sort of big climactic dinosaur fight happening in those films. Now, Jurassic World Rebirth did not have that. And that's probably good because it gives fans a break.
But here's the thing. It's clobbering time. Okay, here's the thing.
Save those jokes for the Fantastic Four stream.
Here's the thing. And if you would let me just take the floor, I will just say it.
You don't need to say it like that. Just say it. See, it's quotes like that make it impossible to.
No, I just need to take the floor.
All right, take the floor. Fine. The floor is yours. The spotlight.
Anyways, so like the major problem with that I have is just it feels like they're going from one enclosure to another. The thing is, there are no enclosures. Right. There's no enclosures. They're not kept separate.
You're going to another island this time. No fences, and you want to send very few people on the ground.
But here's the thing. No, here's the deal. The problem with that being happening is that for an island that was supposed to be an experimental, here we have all these mutant lizards and whatnot. There are no enclosures, and then we didn't get to see inside the enclosure of the mutantodon. And here's
the D-Rex.
Of the D-Rex, right? Sorry, the mutantodon. Well, and the mutantodons. Well, how did they escape? That's another thing.
We never got to see how the mutantodons
for this island. Yeah, for the island to have this supposed to be a place that's not like the park, but to apparently have an enclosure of its own. Where? How did all these dinosaurs get out? These other dinosaurs were clearly not in the park, and they clearly came from the manor from the second Jurassic World movie, they obviously came from this island.
Right.
The giant, what we call it, giant,
all the worst of the worst were left here.
Which is
which
left
means
here.
that during the evacuation, all the dinosaurs were left on the island.
Yeah, and so, but also where the park dinosaurs, there was no, maybe a few, probably I can squint at that. There was no, for us, for them to
question, why were Dolores left there though?
Hold on. For a lot of the whole, for a lot of the movie to tell you that they're moving back towards the equator, there was none of that.
No, actually, there was some of that.
There was only there was, with the exception of the dinosaur at the beginning of the film, right? That got stuck in the streets or whatever.
No.
But there wasn't any other. There wasn't any other dinosaur from Jurassic Park / Jurassic World.
Well, the Quetzalcoatlus.
Okay, well, the Quetzalcoatlus
and the Mosasaurus, that was the same one.
Okay, well, with the exception of those two, and I thought that the Quetzalcoatlus came from this island because of the fact that it laid its eggs in an Aztec building, which is fine. I don't mind the Aztec building being some sort of hint.
There was more than one Quetzalcoatlus. They all fly around. They're migratory.
Well, okay, well, anyways, what probably could erase the stakes of the Spinosaurus scene, the swimming Spinosaurus scene, right? And the Mosasaur, more chaos. Well, and here's how. Don't shh. Here's how. Competitive. The flying. You know how seagulls would try to also compete with not all the time, but like with crocodiles or other aquatic sharks and hippos and crocodiles.
Seagulls don't.
Not necessarily, not all the time, but osprey and eagles.
But there are
sometimes
the point you're trying to make is that oftentimes birds compete with land critters.
With land critters and whatnot. And so you could have had seagulls, any osprey that fishes or whatever.
I get what you're saying, but that probably would have been too much for the short budget that they had.
Well, no, here's the thing though, that this
is going to become a meme.
I'm not trying to say here's the deal. It's such a common thing to say.
I know, but because of the whole fit,
the cut to the chase is that I don't know how they not have a budget when the last three films had made money despite being terrible stories.
Well, here's the thing. They planned.
They made money.
Rebirth was planned and announced literally 1 year or a couple of months immediately after Dominion. But Gareth Edwards was given a smaller budget to work with by Universal.
That's that problem. Okay.
And Gareth Edwards is a great director. You've probably seen some of his work with Godzilla 2014, Rogue One. What's another one?
Anyways.
There was one I was trying to remember.
But here's also another thing. With the sauropods.
The
Titanosaurs could have been more chaotic.
I feel like
here's another thing. These islands are just islands. Why were there so many sauropods? They just mass breed like rabbits.
there was a whole herd of Titanosaurs down like.
They had a missed opportunity to put the velociraptors
with that many Titanosaurs. How is there so much greenery? You'd think these large Titanosaurs would devour the. Well, that's another nitpick that
it's not. I won't say a nitpick. It's kind of it's not a major problem. It's a minor problem. There's
And
a difference
I
between a
think-
nitpick and a minor problem. Is its nitpicks are much smaller.
Well, I think something like that. It's fine to have a peaceful moment there
well, I
instead
understand
of
that, but
chaos. Like,
my
these
God!
are the Titanosaurs. Like, you get a moment for the character to just breathe, relax, and enjoy the majesty of these animals.
you would have at least put in other sauropods, not just the titanosaurs. There's diversity in the
maybe
film.
not just maybe at the very least, if you're speaking of diversity, you could have had
Ankylosaur, which appeared for out of nowhere. I'm the ankylosaur jump scare.
more than just the Titanosaurs. You could have had some Parasaurolophuses, some Hadrosaurs, some other dinosaurs in the mix alongside the sauropods in that valley.
Ankylosaur has just the lowest reputation throughout the entire film. It just feels like he
just kind of jump out of nowhere.
But no, not out of the entire film.
Martin
The entire
Krebs
film
was driving.
He's just
away.
Someone had give the ankylosaurs a better agent.
Some more screen time.
No, a better agent.
Hold on.
The PR for the ankylosaurs. He doesn't do the last time he did shit was when he he didn't do shit. No, actually no, he did shit in the second film.
Jurassic
where the Triceratops did a rampage, but the Ankylosaurus also whacked its tail everywhere.
Hold on, what about the
and then Jurassic Park 3, he only moved around and started munching on grass and like, oh, you're talking about your family issues, I'll move along.
Oh.
and then it disappeared for a bit. The Ankylosaurus did disappear for a bit, and then it just jump scared. Like, hello, like is this Five Nights at Freddy's?
The Ankylosaurus was most
important.
Oh
no! It was the Ankylosaurus in Jurassic World
when it fought the Indominus.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah.
You didn't forget it. You didn't mention it.
It was a thing, honestly, bro. Unfortunately, but it had a neat but here's the thing. I do want to mention about the Ankylosaurus. See when it hit the gyrosphere, the spinning ball. When it hit the
landed a solid hit on the Indominus.
I do want to point out that scene about how dangerous even the herbivores can be, and Xenosaur is also a herbivore. Therizinosaur was also a herbivore, but it was very territorial and it was very.
And it had one blind eye.
Gotta get back at the dinosaurs.
Gotta get back to the past while it's never Jack.
Anyways, why didn't the Titanosaurus panic when it get nipped by the device? Like, well, you would think there would be a panic and then boom, 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 boom. You know what I'm saying? That kind of sort of scene.
Well, because
I was very afraid when Henry was very close to the like, get away from the leg. I know the thing could go.
But to be fair, when they shot it on the neck, it did interrupt the sort of like they stopped their little courting dance.
The tail was beautiful.
Yeah, they did stop their little courting dance and they started marching away from them.
It would have been a nice moment. Let's say there was Bob from accounting. He has a gun or something. Maybe he was just, or maybe he has a torch or something, right? Let's just say Bob from accounting was there with them, and the tail just goes, whoosh, and his head just falls right off. And
wanted more death.
I'm just saying it would have been an unexpected death from a Titanosaur.
No, a real unexpected death from
that tail was long and it looked like it could cut your head off.
A real unexpected death from a Titanosaur would be if the Titanosaur looked down at Henry Loomis because he got so close, reached down with its mouth open, picked him up with the long neck, and then flung him away.
You know what? I would have been much happier. Not because of the death count, but because I didn't
You just want chaos.
not because of the death count, but because of like Henry. I just don't like you. There was moments where I did, but there were some other moments where like, come on, Henry, just shut the fuck up about your morals. It's a sin.
He was actually one of my favorite characters in this.
I didn't like some of the moments where he's like, it's a sin to kill these creatures in self-defense. there are several moments where you could have killed some of the dinosaurs and it would have been in self-defense. If the dinosaur was a human and if the dinosaur tried to kill you, you would have called it self-defense. I'm just saying to say it was a sin it's one thing to have it to sin if it was murder, but to kill in self-defense is not a sin.
Well, the thing is, the dinosaurs were under protection laws at this time, if you remember.
Yes, but like it would.
I wouldn't necessarily.
They're already committing a crime.
Go so far as to say that it's a sin.
You know what?
Yeah, it's a crime, but I mean they're already in the act of committing one crime. What's one more?
Well. I understand his sentiment that he probably didn't want to act.
I mean, he's a paleontologist.
To call it a sin just made me feel like another reason why Christians get so much hate. You know,
it just felt like happens on the water.
It just felt like
going off kilter a bit.
It just felt like one of those scenes where, like, oh, you know how Christians get made fun of because they talk about sins and whatnot.
And we're Christians ourselves.
I know that it really felt like he was preaching, and he was like, "Just shut up." I know he sounded a little too religious when he talked about like, it's a sin. Anyways, but another reason why I didn't like the character is because like. Oh, well, there is a reason we don't. There is a way we could like. No. There was the other scene where I didn't like him was like how he. I liked some of this quote or some of his monologue, but I felt like it was a little lengthy. Where he was talking about survival and whatnot. Survival was a long shot. I liked that.
I like that.
I liked it, but I feel like it was a little bit lengthy.
I liked the entire thing.
He just came off a little bit annoying when he went to look at the billionaire, and he's like, "I'm going to preach to you for a minute about about what." He just came a little preachy, I guess, when it came to like the morals and whatnot. And there was also the point where like. Hey, you know, it would be not cheaper. Hey, we will not make any money. But if we give it free to the world and whatnot, blah, 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 blah. Like, I understand now that part I didn't necessarily disagree with, except though, because of the fact that the information would have been given to everyone, which I actually agree with the billionaire here, even though he didn't say it, I'm saying it. For him. I'm saying it for the billionaire, which they should have talked to the billionaire about it too. They kind of backstabbed him by talking about this behind his back. I was like, why not? They could have had at least this conversation. Hey, Mr. Billionaire, why don't we just give the information for free? I feel like what the billionaire could have said, but then the DNA would now be also information. That which would cause more parks to happen, or more. That billionaire from the second Jurassic World film.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, there's only so much you can do with 3 DNA samples from a Titanosaurus.
Yeah, but like that's still DNA. You could probably just alter some of the. Think about it, you could just with just enough dinosaur DNA from those just. Having the code, you could just
probably make more mutants.
You could either make more mutants, or you could just probably just use that DNA code to construct something else.
Produce your own mosasaurus.
Produce your own dinosaurs. Produce your own velociraptors. It may not have been velociraptor code, but they could have at least done something with it. Giving it to
gene splicing doesn't work that way.
Well, I mean, they could have at least. No, I mean, I'm talking about like the science of it. They could have at least looked at the genes and said, "Well, I could," because when you look at it, no, I'm saying when you look at like the ingredients to like. When you look at the ingredients to like how to make a specific type of lasagna, I'm talking about that kind of like examination. I'm not talking about the gene splicing, the science of gene splicing. I'm talking about looking at the ingredients.
I understand, but
they were like, well, we may not have much here. We may only have 3 dinosaurs here, but with this information, we have enough to look at the ingredients here and see how they made the dinosaurs, and then go from there. That would have been bad in that opinion, because of the fact that it would have been used for heart disease.
Basically, just learning how to make the dinosaurs, not necessarily take mosasaur DNA and make a raptor from it.
Yeah, they could potentially, technically, but like this is science fantasy.
It's not. I know, but even cloning, then, it's not how it works. They tried to stay in a grounded real.
Oh, I know that, but we're also talking about cloning, which cloning in reality is where they would die faster.
Well, no, Jurassic Park.
They take a few steps.
They've always been about gene splicing.
Gene splicing and whatnot. I understand it, but like the actual science of cloning is, from what I've briefly read, but
it's been about genetic engineering.
Anyways, mostly genetic engineering / cloning or whatever. Anyways, that doesn't matter. I just feel like they could. I feel like it might be a red flag. I open for maybe a sequel, but really not enough audience.
That's definitely something I want to talk about. To the ending.
I feel like that will open up for a sequel.
It's definitely an open.
But a lot of audience won't notice that because they just only talked about it one. They talked about. They didn't talk about the consequences of the potential consequences.
And that's something I actually have.
So there could be some, but unfortunately, that's left to theorize there. So the casual audiences won't catch on to that. I feel like
that's something I want to get back on track about, to the different species that were on the island.
Oh, and before that, I feel like another way to rewrite. Actually, Han, we could talk about how we could construct the movie. Just a brief, like, little hypothesis of how the movie could have been reconstructed.
Well, anybody can do that.
Well, I know, but like the way the movie is structured, I feel like there's a potential way to a quick. Okay, let me explain. I feel like
all I'm gonna say is I'm fine with it, even though they had a small budget to work with.
I feel like a quick way
I only have a few things
I feel like a quick. I feel like not a quick, but I feel like a few building blocks to go off here to fix the movie would have been to already have the scientists, or not the scientists, the team assembled, I guess. The only person that they needed to have on screen, I feel like, no, just listen to hear me out. I feel like the only person that they needed to convince on screen for a casual audience
Henry Loomis.
Was Henry Loomis. Now for the team, for the other members of the team, because there's other ways to like get the characters introduced to the casual audience, which have them have their own moments sprinkled into the movie, and there's a way to do that. But I'm only talking about the building block structure here. So you would actually introduce not the you will have so you have the prologue where like, oh, I feel like they could actually show the instead of having that weird scene, they could have actually show how he escapes, uh, and not through or they could have leave it a mystery like how he escapes, but like just show him just rampaging through the laboratory. That would have been better, actually, in my opinion. Instead of
T-Rex.
the D-Rex, yeah. Instead of explaining how he technically didn't really escape, so it was kind of weird. So instead of explaining how he escaped, show us him show us him already escaping and people already being killed left and right. That way, in the extended, that way when you have a DVD release, you can have an extended scene explaining. I feel like that would have been much better, because when you're having an audience sit in, you don't want to see a goofy explanation of the Snickers. And so, anyways, you would take that out, but you have the creature actually just roaming throughout the laboratory, escaping, right? And maybe also triggering the mutadons to escape as well. And also, there's not enough mutants in this film, so I feel like they should also focus more on this being a mutant film. The X-Men. Okay, sorry. No, not a mutant film.
I wouldn't say that.
Well, maybe like one other mutant dinosaur would have at least, maybe a herbivore, maybe not a. Yeah, I feel
the thing is, people were already
to keep it balanced.
tired of hybrids.
No, I feel like to keep it a nice balance here, because you have two mutant two carnivores that were the flying velociraptors, right? Also, I didn't know instead of like the pterosaurs or the seagulls. Sorry, seagulls. Anyways, instead of having the pterosaurs or the quetzalcoatls like competing in the Spinosaurus scene, you could have had maybe the raptors fly in and also compete for the fish.
The mutadons could only glide so far.
Well, I feel like
they weren't capable of free flight.
You could have made it to where it kind of flew. Well, then again, how would it get stuck on that? Okay, fine.
Yeah, how would they land? Because that.
Well, the thing is, they're not enough.
Their bodies are too heavy.
The problem with the film, though, it is there's like with the dinosaurs. It's not that I want more. It's not necessarily that I want more kill count, which it's there's not enough chaos. I say, it would have been better if I do say that like it would have been better if there would have been more kills, but I feel like it would have been better if it was more chaos with the different dinosaurs. Because it feel like it was episodic. Like, okay, this is the monster of the week, or not the monster of the week. This is the monster of this episode. This is the monster of this episode. That's how the movie feels like it's structured.
But you need the chaos to make the director. Sense.
Well, I know that, but like the thing is, it's an island, and you know what happened in Jurassic Park 3? The chaos happened because the met and clashed with each other.
Yeah, but they made it.
Now, granted, you didn't have the velociraptors or clash with
the Spinosaurus there for every scene. It didn't like clash with every single thing that lived and breathed.
I know that. I understand that it didn't need to have everything clash together because it was on the island. But I'm saying however, though, the velociraptors did clash with the herbivores.
No, they didn't.
Yes.
No, they didn't.
The chase scene, when the velociraptors chased in Jurassic Park 3, when the velociraptors chased the herbivores, and Dr. Alan Grant and the others had to run away and not get stampede.
No.
You don't remember that?
Okay.
In Jurassic Park 3, the velociraptors chased.
Here's what happened, and I'm going to correct you on this.
Yes.
When they were running away from the raptor in that abandoned engine facility, they ran into a large herd of herbivorous animals.
Yeah.
Corythosaurus and Parasaurolophus.
Yeah.
Dr. Grant told everyone to run into the herd, and that caused the animals to be spooked and start running.
Yeah, I know that, but
Yeah,
the
the
mindset
animals
was
started.
that the
The animals
velociraptors were still
started
chasing them.
running. No, they got spooked because Alan Grant and the others started running into them, and they ran away to get away from them. The raptors didn't show up until the scene after when Billy dropped his bag, and then the raptors started chasing after them.
But still,
And then
you
Dr.
get
Grant caught the bag and started, as everyone was. That wasn't a versus scene or a chase
I didn't say
scene
it was
at
a
all.
verse scene. It was still
Yes,
a
it was a
clash.
chaotic. It wasn't a clash. It was just
It
pandemonium.
didn't have to
It was
actually
just
clash.
It was just pandemonium.
Well, pandemonium, whatever.
It was just a chaotic scene.
Well, yeah, the chaos happened, and then one domino fell and led to another.
It was
You
a
did get
stampede.
that with the Titanosaurs, which I felt like would have been much more entertaining.
Well, I mean, I feel like you need something more than just
Okay, I know that.
humans pet the large creature's leg or small prick. It'll take more than that to cause a
The Megalodons.
giant sauropod to stampede.
I'm just saying, like, you could either have the Megalodons show up early in the film, I actually have the Megalodons an actual threat. Now, there was a scene, was it a pterosaur that killed one of the raptors? That snuck up on the guy while he was peeing?
No, that Megalodon. That was the Megalodon. It killed the raptors.
I guess it was too shadowy that I couldn't exactly tell if it was the Megalodon or not.
Bruh,
It
it was
looked-
easy
it-
to see it.
I did not. Well, granted, to be fair,
We have to see the movie again.
no. To be fair, I actually did not. The Megalodons were not advertised as much as the D-Rex, so I did not expect the Megalodons.
That was the Megalodon that
And
attacked the raptors.
And it didn't look, and I didn't recognize the. Well, I didn't. Well, I just didn't know about the Megalodon until it showed up, and I thought it was something that was.
I'd say the only thing that would have spooked that Titanosaurus herd would be the D-Rex, and that's saying a lot.
That's true.
Even the
Well, I feel like a Megalodon would have spooked the Titanosaurus.
Nope, it would have been too small.
Yeah. So
you have to remember, giant sauropods like Titanosaurus and Argentinosaurus were not easy to spook. Even giant predators like Mapusaurus and Carcharodontosaurus had a hard pressing time just to get a sauropod herd to stampede.
Okay, so what exactly? Okay, so I do want to rewatch the film for this though. I know we're making a lot of time here, but we can continue to talk here. It's a nice live stream. So, anyways, so with which of the Velociraptor, we have to rewatch the movie for this, but what were the colors of the Velociraptors that were sneaking up on
Xavier's
character?
Those were the Jurassic Park 3 raptors.
Yeah, but what was the color of the one that was killed?
The same color as the male one, the Quilliam.
Quilliam?
Yeah, the same design as the JP male.
So the gray one survived? Or is that another? Or is there two?
You asked me the color of the raptor that got killed.
Yeah,
not the one that survived.
What was the color of the one that
survived? They both died. One Mutodon killed both raptors.
Both Megatron and Starscream? Damn! I know that's my personal nickname to them because they kind of have a very similar personality to Megatron and Starscream.
They didn't.
No, I know like how the gray one bossed the Quilliam around.
The white one, you mean?
The grayish white one bossed the other
female.
The female, yeah. How the female bossed the other
the male.
The males around, especially the quilled one. And the quilled one had
all the quilled ones were males.
well, how it bossed the one quilled one in particular. The one quilled one had a very specific color palette that kind of reminded me of Starscream, and so it kind of feels like Starscream.
Oh,
and
you're
Megatron.
talking about JP3.
Yeah, and JP3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I was just like, all right, I'll back up. It kind of reminded me of Megatron's and Starscream's dynamic. Uh, so they both died. Damn.
Well, not those. Well, not those ones specifically. I'm saying that.
Oh, they didn't both die, but they still die. Damn.
No, I'm saying that both raptors that were in that scene weren't necessarily the same ones from JP3. They were just a male and female raptor.
But they both died. Still.
Yes, the Mutodon killed both raptors.
I thought they just fled.
No, it killed them both.
Oh, anyways.
It jumped on the male, taking it by surprise because it was about to lunge at Xavier, but the Mutodon caught it off guard.
I also kind of
then it like, and then it jumped at the female, and
I do like how,
and then it carried the male off.
I do like how it ignored him, but and whatnot.
Well, that's because he remained absolutely frozen. He was just like he didn't move. He held his breath. He was like, "Oh God."
Well, I know that, but like it just, I guess it's either because he peed continuously after.
Well, that's because he finally allowed himself to breathe afterwards, and then his body just immediately afterwards.
I don't know. It just ended. I'm not that into that type of humor. I found it funny at the time, but only because like I'm in it for a horror or slasher or whatever film, not for a comedy. So it's funny, but like it just kind of
have a few comedic moments. Just be careful.
I just feel like that comedic movement just kind of didn't like
back to a criticism. Back to a criticism I had made earlier about certain dinosaurs only being in for certain amounts of time. With the Spinosauruses, they were only around for that one boat scene, and that was it. One thing I would have loved to have seen is the Spinosauruses come out of the water and pursue them onto land. I would have loved to have seen the Spinosauruses waddle around on the land.
I feel like what?
I would have loved to have seen that. And the Rex, which...
No, I was going to say something about...
we actually see it twice in the film. One when Xavier is peering out into an area like, hey, you think we should go that way? And then we hear it traipsing through the trees, and they go, how about we go that way instead? And then we see it asleep by the river when the Dilophosaurus shows up after it was scavenging the dead carcass of that Parasaurolophus. But one thing is, I would have loved to have seen more of the Spinosaurus. I would have loved to have seen more of the Rex. The D-Rex only had about 10 minutes of screen time. I would have loved to have seen more screen time for the D-Rex, so we could have gotten more of that connection with it that Gareth Edwards said we were supposed to. Because Gareth Edwards himself said that he wanted people to feel sorry for this creature. There was no emotional connection to the thing whatsoever. There was no sign whatsoever that this creature felt like it was constantly in pain at all. It moved around just fine. It was killing everybody it came into contact with, and I'm just like, so we're supposed to feel sorry for this guy?
At least I think
at least it survived.
I think what happened was because of Steven Spielberg. I heard somewhere that Steven Spielberg said to him to keep the movie scary. So I think what ended up happening was that he had a change of heart, I guess, for the Amudodon.
D-Rex.
For the D-Rex, sorry. Why did I say Mutodon? It feels more like a mutant Don than the mutant Don because oddly enough, the mutant Don actually feels like an actual creature. Well, not an actual creature. It feels like It feels like it should have a different name. D-Rex doesn't. D-Rex just sounds
Distortus.
Rex. Distortus Rex sounds like a. Well, when you say D-Rex,
distorted Rex.
When you say D-Rex, it sounds too generic of a name. Because you got T-Rex, Tyrannosaurus Rex, Distortus Rex, Indominus Rex, I-Rex. But going back to the structure of build, like the story, I feel like from the beginning of the movie, right? You have the lab scene, then you have just them introducing us to the what's his name?
Henry Loomis.
Henry Loomis.
I feel like if I may.
You've been I made.
You've been talking nonstop for several minutes.
Don't have to yell. Don't have to shout.
Yes, I do.
Anyways, if you may.
But if I may here,
before I forget.
I feel like they should at least keep a scene introducing Zora Bennett. She's literally the main character.
Anyways, no, I feel like you should use. I feel like that actually did not work.
No. I said keep a scene introducing our main character, not the same scene. I mean, let's keep a scene introducing Zora Bennett.
It was
and then the scene with Henry Loomis.
It was contradictory to her intention of getting this job, for her to deny the job, when she later says in the film that she wanted to get this job to brush off not the trauma, but what was it called?
She said she took this job despite it all because she couldn't handle just sitting around thinking about what happened during her past job.
A
partner of hers died and she couldn't sit around thinking about that. But Duncan Kincaid talked to her about it in a scene in film saying, Zora, you can't just ignore what happened like that. You gotta accept what happened, but you can't just ignore it.
Here's what I think they should have happened if
they had a caring relationship.
I feel like here's what should have happened if you really want to, if you really like her character that much. I feel like here's what should have happened, because I do want to like these characters. So fine. I feel like what should have happened, instead of having that conversation where she denies him, like she's like, nah. She's like, nah, I've heard enough. Like, yeah. In the beginning, she's like, nah, I don't want to. And she just leaves. Like, I don't like the scene at all.
Oh, where she talking to Martin Crab.
Yeah, I like that. That seems contradictory
to intentions. At first she's walking away, but then he offers her a big prize that would allow her to retire from the job.
I just feel like you cut that scene, but you give us a different scene. You show.
That's what I said.
Hold on. You show us how the partner died. Then, when you introduce the billionaire and his wife, when you introduce the billionaire, or the not the billionaire, the hiring guy, when you introduce the billionaire, it's like, I think, you have this discussion. It's like, no, where you actually say, no, I don't want any more missions, right? I don't want to do any more missions. I'm retired from that because of like my partner died and whatnot. You have that conversation set in, right? When he's, and not this whole weird, I get in a car scene. I didn't like that scene. Like, oh, how did you get in this car? Well, you're not that hard to Man
You're
to
not
follow.
that hard to follow.
I feel like it should have been the reverse, where actually he's following her. Not that he's stealth mode following her. I'm saying like you know how like we're like
You're
he's
saying she should have been driving through the city and he's
no.
the one who ends up in the car.
No, I feel like no, not that. I'm saying like in a sense of like them walking to a certain destination or something, and them having a conversation about it, and he's kind of sort of following her and like trying to keep up to her pace, like she does not want this mission in the first place, and then he kind of leans in. You know, those that kind of scene where he's like
But that seems like
he is pushy.
that seems like a scene that's overused a lot.
It works. It's not. You don't. You use it because it's not broken. It works. I like those scenes.
I feel like that scene in the movie where he asks her to join him for a moment. I felt like that conversation in particular, it worked well enough, but it could have been tweaked to have been better.
I know. Anyways, regardless, you actually have it to where he's literally trying to get her reeled in, right? And more.
Well, he did reel her in.
Well, I know that, but like it just feel the way how she handled the situation just kind of just didn't sell me the character. I guess, or rather, how her acting just didn't sell me the character.
I don't think it was the acting. I think
the character was written. I guess because I think that's probably what's happened here is that she's not a well written character, but she's But let me finish.
The writing, particularly,
it is definitely the whole structure, the whole problem.
I'd say it's the budget included with the writing. They had to shorten.
The whole movie feels like it's a writing issue because of the budget.
Well, David Koepp had a lot of good stuff in the writing. He just probably didn't have everything he wanted in there because they did say Gareth Edwards himself had 3 scenes he had to cut from the theatrical release.
Damn.
One scene he really didn't want to cut in particular.
Well, we're gonna have to.
Steven Spielberg cut
it. If Steven Spielberg had to cut a scene, that's probably a bad sign.
No, he had to cut it because of budget.
Oh, well, I feel like, I'm just saying.
Remember, this was a big project with a small budget.
I'm just saying, Steven Spielberg is a big name, and if you have someone who's like basically, he just knows how to have these films, I guess, whatever, right? Constructed and whatnot. I'm like, that tells me like, well, that feels like if he had to cut something from a film, then that tells you something.
This is the same man that cut the river raft scene from the original Jurassic Park.
Oh, I understand that.
They weren't able to include it then because limited CGI.
No, I think it was actually because of the limitations of the props.
No limitations of CGI.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And props because they wouldn't have been able to use the T-Rex.
Oh, the water caused fire.
The water would have damaged the prop.
No. What happened? I think it was because the water actually caught the animatronic on fire, or something. I heard of a fire scene, or not a fire scene, of a fire accident in the original film. I can't remember which one it was though. They had a lot of problems with the first one, by the way.
They did. They never included the river raft scene. In that. It was left in the storyboard.
Back to how I would see like how this movie would be constructed, I guess. You would have that, then you'll have a quick scene of like them meeting the scientist. What's his name? Henry. Them.
Well, maybe not too quick.
I feel like that would be. I feel like. Well, here's the thing. I think
the thing.
I feel like it. I feel like the situation of the movie would have been better if you had only one scene dedicated to here's the team, or not here's the team, but like here's hiring the minions, or not hiring the minions, hiring the people,
hiring the squad.
Yeah, hiring the squad. They did it too much. I feel like that the whole hire getting the squad together. I feel like because of the fact that they had the introduction of the squad, feels like they just. I feel like they could have cut that out and leave it for an extended part of the scene, extended part of the movie, because like if you just introduce the first two main characters, you're good. But hold on, and hear me out.
I'm hearing you out.
And-
It's just I've been doing nothing but hearing you out.
Then you cut to actually meeting the family, going out to sea instead of being just oh we're just out in here and sea, because like I feel like
Well, they explained why they were out on sea. They were doing a boating trip.
Well, yeah, but like you could have at least done a scene before the boating trip.
Mm.
So cut out some of the squad meet, have the family meet.
Well, I feel like we could have left out the partner dying as well, because they explained it well enough that Zora was not okay because her partner died during her last mission. We can explain that without having to include the scene.
I mean,
without having to include the scene where her partner dies.
Well, I feel like it would have been more of like a dramatic kind of like thing.
Yeah, but then it wouldn't feel like a Jurassic movie. It would feel like, a secret agent film.
But no. Here's the thing, though. It's clobbered. Okay, so
Ding.
no. Here's what they could have done is also made it Jurassic-y. Though have him die because of a different dinosaur situation, which would actually make make it a reason as to why she would also be hesitant to take on another dinosaur job. Let's just say this mission was to take a dinosaur and just move it. That like maybe that was what was happening, and then something bad happens.
Well, that wouldn't have fit the narrative, though.
No, I'm just saying. It wouldn't fit the narrative.
No, it wouldn't.
How?
Because at the time, dinosaurs were dying off everywhere. So why would there be a dinosaur?
No, this was no. Have it set to where it's like before the dinosaurs are dying off. Just have it to where it's like it's a capture.
At that time, her character would have been a little girl.
No, she wouldn't be a little girl.
She would have been a little girl about Maisie Lockwood's age at that time.
Not necessarily. No. I'm not talking about not talking about way before when they're capturing dinosaurs or whatnot. No. When did it? Hold on. First of all, how long of a time period between Jurassic World Dominion and Rebirth?
Well, there's a 5-year gap between Dominion and Rebirth.
Yeah. Then just have it on year 4.
So basically, you're talking
1 year gap between this movie between the death of her partner. Where they're like, oh.
So basically, her during the time of Dominion.
Not during the time of Dominion, sometime after Dominion. Where like the dinosaurs are.
So in between after Dominion and when the dinosaurs start dying out because the world was.
They didn't immediately start fleeing and starting.
I know.
You could pinpoint a period where before the dinosaurs started dying out, or maybe they're not before they found. How about this? Like I guess like before they found out that the dinosaurs are dying out, or maybe like right during the time when the dinosaurs are leaving and they don't know why. But just have a small scene where he dies because of an accident. It just say like he died of an accident, right?
Car bomb.
Yeah, well, a car bomb.
Well, I feel like that in itself would have been more than enough to dissuade her from wanting to carry on a mission. It doesn't have to be dinosaur related.
I know,
It would
but
have been more
this is
watching a friend die to a car bomb would be more enough for any regular agent to
I
just be
know.
like, I don't want to keep doing this anymore.
I know, but I'm just saying that it would have been too. It would have felt too soon to do another dinosaur mission, even though the last one was already a dinosaur mission. Yeah, I would have been more. I feel like it would have been more rooted for this character in universe, uh, for me to care about why she wouldn't be on a mission of dinosaurs.
I personally disagree, but
I know. You don't have to do it that way. I'm just saying because of the fact that the dinosaurs are all over the place and a car
well, they
bomb.
were.
Well, they were. I'm just saying a car bomb for a mercenary just is.
Happens more often
Oh,
than
I
you
know
think.
I know it happens more often than I think. I'm just saying it's just when a movie about dinosaurs and people dying because of dinosaurs, a car bomb just seems a little out of place.
But quite normal for the human world
Oh, I know it's
that
normal for the human
dinosaurs
world.
are living in.
I'm just saying it just seems a little out of place. I'm not saying that has to be the fix. You could either have him dying because of a dinosaur or having him dying because of car bomb or whatever. I'm just saying that like I feel like there should have been at least a little bit more connection in that area
Well, I mean that's
other than conversation.
well, that's probably why so many people feel like Jurassic World Rebirth could make it as its own standalone movie because there's very little connection
To
to
any of
the
these
events of Dominion,
no. I'm not talking about the
even
connection
or
to
even
Dominion.
to
I'm talking about
just
the
the
connection.
dinosaurs being out in the world
The-
in general or having been out in the world.
I don't necessarily care about whether it was if the film was a standalone film or not. That's not the problem. The problem is the storytelling of this film. The story just does not feel like building blocks.
Well,
It
I
feels
mean,
it feels
maybe.
only building blocks in the sense of an episode where you go from this section to this section to this section to this
It
section.
is definitely.
It feels
It is.
section off.
It is definitely a movie that flies by really fast.
It's not that it flies
And-
by really fast.
Well, it was a
It
2 hour.
was.
It was about a 2 hour movie, but it flew by really quickly.
That's not the problem, and I appreciate that it actually felt like it was fast paced. But the problem is everything was sectioned off. Like yeah, the complaint that you had earlier. Everything just felt like it was sectioned off, and the characters I couldn't really be reeled into the characters.
Well, that's your problem. I personally enjoyed the character.
They're enjoyable. There's a difference between a character being enjoyable versus the how do I say it? I feel like there's a
Being hooked on a character.
yeah, being hooked on the character because there's a lot of characters in believe it or not, there's a lot of characters in the Star Wars films where in the sequel Star Wars films where like oh hey these characters can be enjoyable like Kylo Ren and Rey. As much as I don't like Poe Dameron, well, no, I actually like Poe Dameron. He's and Finn.
I just said
I do like them.
Poe Dameron and Finn. I just
well, no, correction, no, I don't
Maybe
care.
not so
No,
much
yeah,
about
correction.
Finn.
No. They're all in the mostly.
I personally feel like the movie should have been about.
They're
Poe Dameron.
enjoyable. These characters are enjoyable, but I don't care about them. Does that make sense? There's a difference between enjoyable and caring. I don't care about Nina. I don't.
Well,
I don't. I care
I do
about.
care about.
I
I
do
do
care
care
about-
about a lot of the characters in Rebirth. I don't care about all of them, but I do care about a lot of them.
Okay. Here's the characters I do care about.
But I feel like before you continue, I feel like we've been going a lot off track for the 2 hours and a half.
Mhm.
Just off of nitpicks, we haven't really been getting into the meat of the movie. We've just been trailing off, complaining about nitpicks. we have with the film, but not actual criticisms and reviews.
Oh, I know
And
that.
I would like for us to get more on topic with that. So if we could set our nitpicks aside, just
These are the real criticisms I have with the film. Is that the pacing just kind of just feels just separated. The characters are enjoyable, but I don't care about them. I don't care.
The pacing is
the only character
overall-
I care about this is the rich guy. What is his name?
Martin Krebs.
Yeah, Martin Krebs, because he had some relatability that was and a point that was understandable. I don't like his actions.
I couldn't really relate to Martin Krebs.
I don't
actually found myself related more to Henry Loomis.
If anything, I feel more.
Call me crazy.
I feel like if anything, I am more related to
the pacing. The pacing was actually my second demerit for the film. If the pacing and dinosaur appearances were tweaked just a bit in the film, like more dinosaur occurrences, like for the Spinosaurus being on land and for the Rex to appear more, for the D-Rex and the Mutodon to have more screen time, like more screen time for certain species of dinosaurs. Heck, give the Mosasaurus a bit more screen time.
And
if we could just fix the pacing a little bit,
and
change, and I would have given it a 10 out of 10.
And actually, you know what would made me give it a 10 out of 10 potentially?
What?
Also, not just that. Now, we'll take everything I've said, and instead of making the team, the science team, the main characters, make the family the main characters. Because I feel like I would have been more, because of the fact that I was more interested about their plot, about their situation, and hoping that they would get off their island and whatnot. It felt like that the scientists were, because here's the thing: if you structure them, the science team, let's just call them the science team. If you structure the science team as the engine group from Jurassic Park 2, right? That, not saying that you have to make it like Jurassic Park 2, where it's like, oh, all these agents on the island, I'm not saying you have to have all the agents on them. I'm just saying if you have the science team as a B plot and to have the family just trying to survive and also just probably arguing with the science team in here and there, like, oh, have the science team have more of an antagonistic role. That I would have liked. All the nitpicks would have gone out of the water.
I personally enjoyed the science team being on the forefront rather than the family. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the Delgado family. I enjoyed them as the side plot that they were, because even though they were the side plot, they did have that really cool scene with the T-Rex, and we got to enjoy them being on screen. They had a lot of relatable moments.
And you know why?
But I was more invested in the science team because, one, they were the main plot, but it also felt like to me there was more to go for with the science team than the family team. Now, yeah, Jurassic Park 3 had the family team and no science team. That's what I enjoyed about this film, that I feel like makes this a little better than Jurassic Park 3, like a Jurassic Park 3 3.5. Like, there's more to it than just a family on the island looking for someone or just trying to survive and whatnot.
I'm just saying, like, if they made the science team more of an antagonistic role, it would have felt more like, not just like Jurassic Park 2, but it would actually felt more like, and Jurassic Park 3 to its own degree, it would also felt more like Jurassic Park the video game. or whatever it was called.
The Telltale
hell-
game wasn't canon. It wasn't.
It may not have been canon, but it had a good story that could have been this movie. Where they go look for a DNA thing. They
were looking for the Barbasol can, though.
I know it's not canon, and then the fucking third Jurassic World movie ruined it by not having it destroyed.
I just think
don't get me wrong.
I just think that in all honesty, the family plot was good as is. And the science team didn't have to be antagonistic because that wouldn't have fit Henry Loomis's character. He's a paleontologist. Why would he join?
No, he could be
an
antagonist. No, he could be a good guy. No, he could be a good guy. That's just it.
I know.
He could have been one. I like the trope where you have the good guy.
It would have been the same as Alan Grant joining and getting hit by Cooper. I get it.
Oh no! It's one of those situations where they guise themselves as like the good guys. I don't want to say disguise, but like just Duncan could have been at least you could have had Duncan at least antagonistic, but also explain that he also has a family, right? Which we kind of had a bit of a glimpse into.
We did have that in this movie. Duncan had a daughter.
And you could have also made it to where you could have small little details about the other characters making it didn't have to be much about Nina, and it didn't have to be much about Philip, or not Philip, Lecrae. Sorry. Didn't have to be much about Lecrae, but you could also have some sort of like, they're relatable, right? But you could have also put them into an antagonistic role.
Seeing them interact with one another was kind of relatable. Like this is a crew. This is a crew. Like this is a crew that yes, they wanted money. They were doing this job because they wanted the money to live the easy life. But I mean, like they were also relatable as a crew, like doing this job that they thought would be like just every other job.
I feel like there should have been more people decide with the
Krebs.
The Krebs, not just Bobby. Bobby just
that's one thing Ravenwood and I actually argued about after going to see the film, and after seeing the film opening night, is he felt that Krebs was too obvious a villain. I felt he didn't really come off as antagonistic enough. Even though, yes, he did do nothing when the girl was about to fall off the boat and die. She did fall off the boat, and he didn't do anything to save her. But, I mean, he was trying to protect the mission by stopping her from calling anyone. And when he did have the gun, he didn't shoot anyone, and he wasn't ordering around. He lowered the gun, actually, and said, okay, let's all calm down. Let's just forget everything she was talking about. He actually kept the level head the entire time. He was just, let's all just forget her nonsense, and let's just focus on this. That was rude. He was just he was trying to be rational, failing, but trying to be rational. And another thing I wanted to point out is that when the Mutadons were attacking, he had no need for Zora Bennett anymore. She was expendable after he finally had everything he needed. But instead of leaving her to the Mutadons and being all like, yes, she's dead weight now, he hugged her in close, reached over with his gun, and started shooting at the Mutadon to draw it away. Only when the Mutadon started spawn camping the area.
I remember
that was the only time he just decided he couldn't do anything more for Zora, and he just gone to the car and drove off. Yes, he did leave Zora to fend for herself, but like at that point, he was just like, I gotta get the DNA and get out of here.
It would actually have been more cathartic if the DNA was destroyed, and therefore there would.
Well, technically, the Barbasol can had long since expired, so that's already DNA destroyed.
No,
It's fine. I think it's fine that this time around the DNA lasts because, unlike the first movie, they didn't get the DNA. But this time they did get the DNA.
actually no.
Think of it from that point of view.
But however, but there's also a problem where like it would no. Here's the thing. No, actually, no. They've been doing nothing but getting the DNA. Since that is not canon, the canon thing is that they did get the Barbasol can, and they did get the DNA. So that's canon.
No. Because in
Camp Cretaceous, that's them getting the DNA.
In Camp Cretaceous season 4, he did get the Barbasol can, but the DNA was already expired. He said, "Oh, you would have been useful 24 years ago," but it was already dead. Remember,
he still kept
in
it.
Dodson's scene with Dennis Nedry, he said, "This will keep." They have to be in like by this time exactly. The DNA was expired. They didn't get it.
Well, it was expired. Examine.
He merely got it though as a collectible trophy though. Like he held on to it as a memento.
I feel like
there
that
was nothing
was also
more to do
the
with
explanation in the movie of how they got the dinosaur information. Because you could, you
can't expired DNA like that.
You can examine expired DNA.
You can examine it, but you can't really do anything with it.
Oh, I know that, but that's probably, I feel like with expired DNA, you could still examine some of it.
Well, if they could still examine it, why did he keep the can? Because in Dominion, you could see he kept the can. And obviously the stuff was still in there. Why didn't he give it to the lab scientist?
No.
It meant he couldn't do anything with it.
For some reason, he had a friendship with them.
This time around, they not only got the DNA, but they brought it back within the allotted time window. It's still viable. The first movie, they didn't get the DNA within the time frame to make it viable. This time around, they did.
I feel like
I'm just saying. That's all I got. Overall, after we've given our little nitpicks and reviews on this film, the ending, was it as satisfying and offending for you, Raven? Were you satisfied with the ending?
This was the major criticism that I had with the film. Now, I know you kind of explained it after the film, but my major criticism with it is how the fuck did he survive? And before you say anything, I wasn't
going to spoil it yet. I was going to spoil it after I gave my review of the ending.
Now, before you say anything, there is a bit of consistency in the film of how does this happen, or rather reveal, or something like how the storytelling of like.
Wait. Bit of a spoiler review here for this scene. Before Ravenwood goes into that scene I think he's about to talk about. Again, if you have not seen the movie, go watch it before you listen any further. You should have done that before watching it. But we're about to go into detail about a particular scene here. So, once again, you have been warned.
Okay, so anyways,
Continue.
so anyways, uh, the there's a similar formula throughout the entire movie where it would be like, oh, surprise, didn't expect that to happen, right? Surprise, or not, especially during when the velociraptors get killed. Surprise, when that rock moved and became a Spinosaurus.
I'm gonna admit I
when the-
did not see
when
it
it looked
until
like-
it moved.
When it looked like the Quetzal was not going to get, he was just slowly pecking.
Lecrae, yeah.
It was
I
not going
like,
to get Lecrae, but then somehow in the next panel he
in the
did
next
get.
panel, he like
We see Lecrae,
walked-
but then we did see the bird,
Yeah,
and then they were like,
walked.
"Oh shit!" That was the most real. I had to say that was the most real scene.
I'd
with-
say that
Was Lecrae's death was when they were like, "Oh shit!"
I'll admit,
and then they jumped out of the way.
I'll admit
That was the
one
most.
thing-
That was my favorite, and you know what? That's my favorite scene was Lecrae's death.
Yeah.
Not because it was a death, because it was
it was
just
something
because
that
it was
got
so
you.
intense that even the characters felt like it was intense.
Yeah. One thing I will
It kind of
say
reminds me of like,
one thing I
oh,
will-
they pack trimmers.
one thing-
Oh, come
one
come
thing-
here.
One thing I will say about Jurassic World Rebirth is the death scenes. Unlike most of the Jurassic movies, a lot of these death scenes were very impactful, and to me, they
Except for
felt very.
bodies.
They felt very impactful to me. For me, I did particularly feel impacted by Bobby's scene. Like,
I'm
not
not
only-
because
not only did that Spino grab him, but like he was clinging onto the boat for dear life, and then he gets dragged away. You can hear him being dragged away into the water. He's like, oh, you can hear him gurgling and choking on the water
but,
as he's being bitten or chewed on by this hungry predator.
but
And the fact that you can hear it as he's getting further and further away, you just like, oh. And
Bobby,
you can even
that'd
hear
be
the
so-
bones crunching as he's being bitten in half as blood flows into the water. And I'm just like,
that'd be funny.
oh.
That'd be so funny if he survived it. And he's in the next film. And he's like a cyborg. He's like, I was discovered by
My
beachcombers.
Fucking beachcomber.
Oh, not beachcombers. I was discovered by people who were nearby or something. That was
Who would have been nearby?
the villagers. I was discovered by the
It
villagers.
was an empty village.
The villagers that had survived.
It was evacuated.
And I
It was a worker village for Indian.
know that, but like but it's funny how. Well, anyways, don't touch. Watch out!
I didn't
Watch
mean
out
to.
your toe.
It got stuck on my toe.
Anyways, so it would have been it'd be so funny in the next film.
Welcome to our stream.
Shush. Okay, no, it would have been so funny if like he somehow survived and like I'm now a cyborg man.
Funny but unrealistic.
I know it's unrealistic, but it would be so funny
I know.
that
No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm just like, yeah.
because every time there was a death, unless when it came to Krillin and it came to Krebs, because you could see that they were actually being eaten, right? And when it came to like Nina and Bobby's death, right?
Their death.
Their deaths. It's like they'll be for some reason I found myself repeating, they'll be fine.
Yeah, we honestly could hear you saying that in the theater.
In your mind.
No, I'm pretty sure that's what made
I
that
did not
brick.
say it out loud.
I'm pretty sure that's what made that brick man look at you funny.
I did not say it out loud. I never.
You said it once out loud. You were like, look,
No, he didn't. He
in
didn't.
Bobby's scene, not Nina's, but Bobby's scene, Ashley herself commented that she heard you say,
That
and I was just like, you said that? And she was like, yeah. And I'm just like,
She has hearing aids. She didn't see. She didn't hear me.
Bruh, if Ashley heard you, I'm pretty sure Jonathan's mom heard you. I even
don't
actually
remember.
heard you.
I do not remember you saying that.
You said it. You only said it once, but you said it.
I think I said it a second time, but the second time was more quieter.
You only said it once during Bobby Applewater's death when the spinal made off with him. It was like, he'll be fine. We all looked down the row at you like, I'm pretty sure several people on that row looked at you too. Like, so many eyes were on you for that.
I don't remember saying that out loud. Correction. I remember saying it, but I don't remember saying it.
You said it out loud. You didn't say
I also heard. I heard. I know for a fact I heard someone else say it.
No,
Maybe
that was you.
I don't know. I don't.
For Nina's death, though, I don't think anyone heard you say it that time. So I think you may have been safe there. But when she died, I think that was when you sneezed. And Jonathan and I
the spy source looking at the audience like, who sneezed? Who sneezed? Was it you?
Who did it?
Who sneezed? Oh, you could also hear it
You
sounded like she was. It sounded like she was being ripped in half when she was holding on to that.
She at least was being ripped in half like that.
I hated how the movie just does not want to show us any actual gore, with the exception of like Krebs being disarmed.
Just getting. He was not only disarmed, he was mauled by the T-Rex.
I know for a fact I mumbled. Well, he's disarmed. No one. The woman next to me laughed at that me mumbling. That is like, he's like.
I actually remember I was sitting next to Ashley, and when I saw that, I was sitting next to her, and I said, "Oh well, that's disarming." And I remember her.
I heard her laugh. So it was not the old lady that was laughing.
She nudged me like.
Okay, so it was not the lady next to me that was laughing. It was Ashley over there laughing. I was more focused on.
She wasn't that loud. You probably.
No, for a fact, I heard someone laugh.
Well, regardless of the fact, that did happen. A lot of
the movie was enjoyable, folks.
It was enjoyable.
It was enjoyable. It's just...
And do we recommend it for you?
Yes.
All right. So, do we recommend this movie for you? Yes.
If you want to skip all the other Jurassic World films, yes.
Here's my recommendation for you. Watch Jurassic Park. Watch The Lost World Jurassic Park. Watch Jurassic Park 3. Watch Jurassic World. Skip Fallen Kingdom and Dominion. Watch Rebirth. Those are the only movies that matter.
I don't. For lore, you have to watch Fallen Kingdom. For Dominion,
I guess for lore reasons, you can watch Fallen Kingdom to learn how the dinosaurs escaped onto the mainland, how they got out into the world,
and how they mitosis into different dinosaurs that we didn't see in that film.
They didn't mitosis. It's just that because they were auctioning off dinosaurs, they learned genetic power was released, and they learned how to make more dinosaurs by figuring out how they made dinosaurs, so they could make their own dinosaurs by using fossil and amber from sites in their own countries. But aside from that, you can totally skip Dominion. It is not worth it.
Yeah.
But for lore reasons, I'd say watch Fallen Kingdom. You may hate it, you may like it. I know at least 5 people in my friends group that actually enjoyed the film. I myself, I myself, and a lot of people in the Jurassic community actually found Fallen Kingdom to be enjoyable, but just a bad film. Not in terms of like, oh, this is garbage. This should be set on fire. No, that's Dominion. Dominion should be burned at the stake. Fallen Kingdom was just one of
salvageable.
It is salvageable. The Indoraptor definitely was one of those things that made the
maybe
movie
not
cool.
the Indoraptor.
The Indoraptor definitely made the movie cool. In my scene, there were some scenes that could definitely have been fixed, but it is still a salvageable film. Now, Jurassic World Rebirth. For one thing, I forgot to my ending. I do particularly enjoy the ending of the film.
I did. I just didn't like.
No, you already
Krebs's death.
You already gave your review. You don't.
I know.
I personally enjoyed the ending of the film. Krebs's death was much deserved. It was very disarming. Let's just say that. It felt very personal. I'm not gonna lie. It felt very personal. Like
what did he do to the
I don't know, but the D-Rex had it out for him for something.
I guess it's because he did get hit by a car. I won't lie.
You hit me with your Jeep, you son of a bitch.
It would have been funny if like the D-Rex actually just like
straight up.
No, he didn't eat him out. No, it would be funny if like his death, he didn't get eaten at all. He just went
like he just flat out just punched him.
No, just punched him out of the vehicle to where he just goes flying out and then dies.
No, just like flatten him to like a pancake, like punch at the vehicle like he did, like stomp on it to where he goes flying out the window, grabs him, throws him to the ground, flattens him.
No, actually, no, it'd be funny if like this happened. Like he just has him on the ground. To make it really personal, it'd be like big hand, tiny hand, like.
All right, but now we're being silly.
Hit him up in the air and then go.
All right, we're not doing the 7-page Muda.
I'm just saying, if you really wanted to make it personal, make the smaller hands useful.
Like,
wait, hold on.
Boxing.
If you really wanted a horrible, actually no, hold on. Actually, you know what would make a horrible death for him though? If like all 4 hands had like grabbed onto him and then just tore him apart.
Yeah, like just.
But here's another thing: you can also make it to where he wasn't an antagonist at all throughout the film.
Well, maybe, but
and then make it where it was a tragic death. I'm just saying,
Rick, I know
because I remember that David Krebs,
Martin Krebs.
No. I do remember who was the director.
David Kep.
I do remember that David Kep had said somewhere in his interviews that he knew that the audience was sick and tired of antagonistic billionaires, right? That he was going to change up
You were tired of the same formula.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately,
but that did not happen.
Unfortunately, that was due to budget. they had to stick to the formula because they didn't have enough to go off the rails like he wanted to. They had to stick to the same formula until they get a bigger budget, which I hope they
I don't
do.
think it's necessarily the budget. I think it's just the editorial.
Well, hopefully with the next movie, because there's obviously going to be one, but hopefully they'll have not only better editorial, bigger budget, but better
No,
visuals.
I mean editorial isn't
like
like
just
one of the higher ups that says no, you gotta have this in your film.
that's why I said better editorial.
Oh, okay, fine.
Better editorial because people who are smart enough to know what they're doing and are better at their job.
Yeah.
Better editorial staff, bigger budget, even awesomer visuals, more dinosaur screen time. We love to see the dinosaurs. I'm just saying, go big or go home.
Don't get me wrong, he was relatable.
Now, yeah, he was relatable. Now, Duncan Kincaid. I could. a lot of people are asking themselves, how the fuck did this man live?
There's theory. I've seen all the theories online. They're all ass.
I'm just gonna go ahead and tell y'all right now. This is how we survived. It was because he was backed up.
Said, "I'm sexy." In the D-Rex is like, "Oh shit, he's hot."
No, it was because he was backed up against the tree in the dark. The D-Rex has vision the same as the JP T-Rex. Its vision is based on movement because it is.
I hate that.
At the end of the day, it is a mutated T-Rex, and the JP T-Rex. Its vision is based on movement.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember you saying you hated that.
But no. I hate about the D-Rex. I hate the D-Rex.
Well, I mean, it is at the end of the day a mutated T-Rex.
They didn't discuss that though.
They didn't, but well, I mean, they did, but not in the movie, but in a different source material. Anyways. But how he survived was because he was backed up against the dark tree. It was dark. He was backed up against the tree that was uprooted out of the water. Not uprooted, but standing up out of the water. The D-Rex lost him for a moment. It was staring at the flare. And Kincaid literally dove himself under the water. Either that or he stuck his flare underwater to temporarily lose the D-Rex.
It gives you enough.
The D-Rex would have then lost sight of Kincaid and would have then gone to return to pursue the others. And because they had already escaped on the raft, the D-Rex, it chose not to pursue them anymore. Whether it couldn't swim or it could, it just decided not to follow them, and instead it decided to go back into the jungle.
I think I know.
Either way, it's just like the JP3 Spinosaurus. It waddled away into the forest.
Okay,
and lived to fight another day.
I think what
just for Kincaid to send off a flare, letting everyone know he was alive in the end, and they went to pick him up before heading back out into sea, where the ending is them all being surrounded by dolphins floating.
They could have at least said
symbolic of
they could have at least asked
how the little girl wanted to see dolphins.
They could have at least asked him, "Hey, how did you survive?"
I could have.
And then
I think
I swam under something. And he said, "I swam under it. Swam under the tree."
I think it's fine that they left a little mystery to it to make everyone feel like, "Oh no, he died, Kincaid," and then later it's like, "Oh, he's alive. Yes, my boy survived."
So here's how I explain this scene. It's basically like how every other scene was structured in this movie. you don't see the Spinosaurus killing Nina, right? It's kind of you just kind of sort of have a
Well, I mean,
mysterious
you do
hint,
see it,
right?
but it's censored.
Well, yeah,
It's obstructed by that
there's
giant.
an obstruction.
Yeah, there's an obstruction in the way, so you don't see the entire thing. You just see
And,
the Spinosaurus is pulling her into the water, and then
and then
blood.
you don't see the Quetzalcoatl eating.
You don't see it taking the initial bite, like you don't see it initially gulp him down, but you do see it fly up and then swallow him.
Yeah, and then of course, um, yeah,
Bobby Avawater. You don't see the Spino bite him in half. You don't see
well,
you don't see the initial death of Bobby. You just see him getting dragged away into the water, and you hear him drowning and suffocating.
that's actually
But
that's how
you do
I
see,
think that's.
but you do see the blood
I feel like
after
that's.
he's bitten in half.
I feel like that's on the nose. That scene is on the nose.
A bit, yeah.
Um, but when the Mosasaurus gets first introduced, you kind of just get that same formula. And of course, with Duncan, um, on how he survived, they played the same formula, but this time for the good guy instead of for the dinosaurs. They did it for the good guy. In this case, Duncan. So I feel like that's what's happened structurally as a scene is that he wanted to have it to where it's kind of almost a mystery with all of these different deaths and scenes. Like you can kind of put things together, and it does explain that yes, the light is a trick, but we don't actually know how he used the light as a trick, even though he screamed. But there's also the question of whether or not the D-Rex could also smell.
I
But
mean,
I'm assuming
I'm
not
sure
because
the T Rex could have smelled too back in Jurassic Park 1, but it still didn't go for Alan Grant and Lex, even though they were right in front of her.
And there. Then there was this. Then, of course, let's not forget. While this is not a death scene, when the raft went go, boop, and then the Tyrannosaurus Rex was bye bye.
Yeah, I will admit
That
the river raft scene was by far one of my favorites.
that is the structure of this entire movie. Something happens, you don't see. Something obstructs the view of the audience.
And it leaves us wondering, what happened? What happened?
And the helicopter scene, another example of obstruction. There's so much light. No.
We see the D-Rex in the background behind Loomis, and then moments later, as that thing must have truckered through the mist like a freaking hedgehog. Because moments later, that thing was holding the helicopter in its mouth with one hand on the tail end, and then it freaking yanks it away.
How did it eat the other part?
And blows it up. They all died in the fire.
No, only one person was still in the helicopter. How did it get the other person?
Probably because it reached in and
all these scenes feel like it's a reference from Jurassic Park 2, where we don't know how the Tyrannosaurus Rex escapes the boat.
True. A lot of things are heavily implied, and a lot of things are left for the audience to interpret. But it doesn't make it any less enjoyable.
So I guess Cap just really likes those particular scenes. It's like the criticism of the first Jurassic Park,
anything bad
where there's a lot of lights in Jurassic Park, where for some reason where Steven Spielberg just has lights everywhere. lights.
You do. Like, it's heavily implied that the raptor drags that worker at the beginning of Jurassic Park away to be eaten.
But
But you
that's
never see the raptor
well,
eat it.
but that's different. I feel
But
like
it's on the nose.
I feel like that's on par with the Spinosaurus eating
Getting Bobby.
not getting Bobby, getting Nina. The other Spinosaurus getting Nina. I feel like that's also. I feel like this is that scene.
Well, I mean, all
The shoot her scene is on the
yeah,
is
it's
on
all on the nose. Regardless, after reviewing this and sharing our nitpicks,
and that's just nitpicks,
Jurassic
heavy
World,
criticisms, and
heavy
small
criticisms.
criticisms,
and
mediocre
sharing our praises and whatnot.
I haven't yet
I
to
don't
praise
think.
this movie.
Well, I don't think I've given my praise yet to
But
Jurassic.
there's
There is
praises.
plenty. There's a lot to praise about this film. Jurassic World Rebirth definitely has a lot of spectacular visuals. The dinosaurs look amazing. In my opinion, the characters were very fun to follow. I enjoyed the Delgado family, their adventure on Isla St. Hubert, their adventure to survive. The river raft scene was amazing. Even though a lot of it was heavily spoiled due to the TV spot, I still found myself enjoying it heavily. Just seeing that T-Rex swim through the water like a crocodile.
Listen, TV spots. If you're listening to this, TV spots. Okay,
Universal.
people who do
you gotta
commercials.
stop spoiling everything.
If the death count in a horror / movie is less than 10, and there's only and the main characters are obvious to who person's gonna die or not, right? Don't do that. And don't get me wrong. I don't. There's
I'm
some.
just saying.
Also, to say for David Kep to say that you cannot predict who's going to live or not, when a lot of people have plot armor. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of people with plot armor and whatnot. You kind of just dug yourself a grave there. Don't have that as an expectation next time, David Kep.
Regardless.
I do want David Kep to.
I feel like that was Gareth Edwards' thing, though.
Gareth Edwards, David Kep. Doesn't matter. Overhype a movie before the movie even in production or whatever, or we're not.
They overhype movies all the time.
I know that, but I feel like
part of what brought Marvel down so much is they overhyped their movies.
It's not that. It's
especially after
to say something that
Avengers Endgame. After Avengers Endgame, all the overhype, and many of their movies and TV shows not living up to the hype.
It feels
brought it down so much.
No, it feels like what's actually happening here is that these directors and producers, while they're making the film, they have an expectation of their own film while they're making it and while they're writing it. But then by the time they have said thing to their target to the target audience,
they edited
target audience, they realize they can't take back what they've said. And so now we have this false expectation that we can't predict whatever, blah, 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 who's going to live or die or not. I feel like it also does feel like they were going to add more people into the film to die. And
regardless, I mean,
they could have.
The Mosasaur and the Spinosaur scenes were enjoyable as well. Just seeing the Mosasaur playing with the boat, even though the thing could have easily destroyed the boat at any time. It obviously wasn't trying to eat them. It must have not been hungry. It was just playing with that. It was just playing with something in it. It was playing with it like a curious animal.
I'm not certain, but I actually think there was supposed to be a tragic death with the entire family, because it really does feel like that they were actually going to have the family slowly get killed off one by one, and it was all going to be the science team's fault, and they feel Like
I feel like at the
I
very
feel like that the whole like was this even worth it? You know, to give the weight of the sins of their expedition.
it did feel like at the very least
But then
everyone,
someone said, "No,
I
this
did
family's gonna live."
I did feel like it did heavily imply, like in certain scenes of the movie, that oh, this character was supposed to die here, but then instead he didn't, or this character was supposed to die here and instead didn't. It honestly felt like the only member of this family that was going to die was the girl with Dolores, and that in the
No,
end,
I feel like that they were all going to die. I feel like at one point the what actually was going to happen. It was I feel it was actually going to happen was that the father becomes an actual antagonist, like an antagonist you actually feel bad for,
maybe, but
in that the because what would have been a
and then
great
the
selling
science
point was
team
the
would
main
have
characters
had to
are
shoot him,
jerks. You know what I'm saying? That would
and
have been a
then
great
the
selling point for
science team
those.
would have had to shoot him.
No, not necessarily. It could have been like you have a fight scene between humans actually,
No,
where you have
that's what I'm saying. Like they would have had to shoot him in the end,
no,
like
not
put him
sure,
down,
no, not
or
sure.
one of the dinosaurs eats him.
Yeah, you would have actually made it to where our heroes have no other choice but to have the father as the like
Well,
maybe pushed into a corner or
well,
something.
the regardless of things that might have been or could have been or how we
It would have
wish
been
the
dark
movie,
and bleak.
it definitely would have. Some things could have turned out a whole lot differently. Some things could have been better. Some things could have been a whole lot worse. Overall, Jurassic World Rebirth is definitely a very enjoyable film, and I recommend you go see it. I don't know what Ravenwood thinks, but
I think that it's good, not as a standalone. Well, I hate calling it a standalone because an anthology is also a standalone. And I want to say not as a standalone, but as an anthology. Um, it does. I feel like there's a fine line between a standalone
just
and an
say whether or
anthology.
not you think it's a good movie.
It is a good movie. It's
Do you
just
recommend people go to see it?
I feel like don't want. I feel like I would recommend it as a. I hate to say this, but like I will recommend it, but it feels like I would more so recommend it as a. Uh, if you're tired of, if the, it I don't know how to say it is. It just feels like one of those films like uh you know how like the animated films for the DC universe or like
The recent ones or the
just any
early ones?
just any of them, to be honest, are just they're like less than 2 hours long. They're an hour long, an hour 12 minutes longer. So it feels like if you're those type of films are just like this, just what just spend just like a uh, you have time to spend,
Yeah.
or you just wanted time to go by. It just feels like that type of film. Like, if you just want a good
You want
film,
to pass the time
yeah, a
watching a
movie just to
good film.
pass the time, then this is that type of film. I don't think it's going to be the film of the year, and I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a good film. Just I just
He wants the film of the year to be either Superman or the Fantastic.
well, it's not.
I personally believe Jurassic World
It's
Rebirth
not going to be.
will make it at the film of the year. And
feel
I believe
oof.
that we can make it happen.
I feel like, well, that would mean that something drastically bad happens with Superman and Fantastic Four in order to this be
I
a better film.
personally spit on Fantastic Four. It has been a disappointment each and every film they've tried to do so far. It's been another disappointment.
I don't think so.
I mean, the first two attempts Like those first two movies, the Fantastic Four and then Rise of the Silver Surfer. Yeah, those were okay films. And then the next Fantastic Four, the remake movie, I spit at that one. Like I just spit at that film. It's not even a movie. I spit at it. Um, but like this
Just a
new
pass the
Fantastic
time film.
Four, just
For Superman though, I feel like that's gonna definitely be. I feel like first, I feel like in order of placement, if they're all good movies, I feel like uh, Superman is going to be in first place, and the Fantastic Four is going to be in second place, even though they come out in different times. Superman comes out on the 11th, and Fantastic Four comes out on the 25th. Anyways, I feel like in order of placement, I feel like um, that Superman will come out in first place, Fantastic Four will come out in second place, and Jurassic Rebirth will come out in third place.
my
There's-
personal my personal thing is that Jurassic World Rebirth will be first, Superman will be second, and Fantastic Four will be fourth.
Fourth? What would take over for third?
Nobody three.
No.
Some other movie.
Some other movie that comes out that also comes out in July.
Some other movie that comes out in July is number 3, and the Fantastic Four is fourth.
Hold on, let me quickly Google this. What movies are right now? Theaters now. The Lilo and Stitch. Okay, I forgot it's still on the theaters. What?
Okay, here's my prediction.
What?
Jurassic World Rebirth will be number 1 movie of the year, or the summer at the very least. Followed by Superman, followed by Lilo and Stitch, followed by the Fantastic Four.
There's Happy Gilmore too?
Yeah.
That's coming out. Wait. What movies come out this
month?
July? Superman, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Eddington, The Fantastic Four First Steps, and Happy Gilmore 2. There's also Smurfs.
Yeah, the animated one.
So you think that Smurfs will outperform the Fantastic Four?
Yes. I think Smurfs will outperform Fantastic Four. Superman will do better than Smurfs, and Jurassic World Rebirth will be the number 1 movie of the summer.
I feel like Superman would be that number 1 movie
Well,
of July.
That's only if it does well enough.
Summer? Probably Superman still, but you might be right about Superman. I feel like, yeah, well,
I personally feel like Jurassic World Rebirth is going to be the number 1 movie of the summer.
What's your favorite? What's your worst? What's your least favorite scene? Let's go with it.
All right, my least favorite scene is honestly, I'd have to say, ironically, just the beginning scene, not the opening with the D-Rex and all that and engine. Not that one.
Not the prologue.
Despite how silly it is, like with the Snickers bar causing everything to malfunction, I'm fine with that. It's silly. It's like, oh, but it's like
I'm not.
No, I just wanted, like, it's one of those things that makes you go, oh,
Well,
Damn it, Demo Man.
I'm fine.
Like, why did you bring that in here? We're all wearing hazmat suits. It's like one that you can just be like,
It's one of those things where like I can understand it because like they're underpaid workers. So
like, oh. But no, the scene the scene I like the least uh, or disliked, it'd probably have to be the scene where Martin Krebs was trying to recruit Zora Bennett, just simply because it was such a slow scene, and it felt kind of boring. Like, I feel like this is the main character. Her
the
recruitment.
scientist.
No.
Oh, it's Zora Bennett. Okay.
Zora Bennett, you.
Oh yeah. Okay. I was gonna pick that scene.
I
Damn.
feel like it should have been more interesting. Like, we should have been more invested in her than we should have been Henry Loomis. But instead, it was just one of those kind of corporate, pulled to the side recruitment options that you would give to a secondary character. I'm just like, okay.
Okay. Well.
Henry Loomis's recruitment, though, I was like, oh.
Okay. Since you
sitting
picked,
up in my chair, like, yeah, let's hear about this guy. Yeah.
that I feel like that was more of. I feel like all three of their scenes are just awkward and long and just.
I don't know. Duncan
So-
Kincaid's scene just seemed to
He's
fly
entertaining, but only because no, he's
by.
only.
It flew by for me.
It
I
didn't. It was the same length. I measured. I literally measured each scene, and it's the same length for each
well,
one.
maybe it was
With the
same
exception
length
of
for each.
Scarlett Johansson.
Well,
she was just a bit longer, only because they were trying to show off the dinosaur that was. I'm stuck.
Well, I mean, to me, Duncan Kincaid's scene felt a little
It was-
shorter to me. And I was just like, oh, I wanted to learn more about this guy. He feels like a fun guy. I'm not talking about mushrooms.
I feel like the most annoying scene out of the entire movie that I would just, if I were to just get it out, just delete it as fast as possible, was the sin. You're sinning. Stop sinning. When he's like,
Just
it's
that
the
one, just that one line.
yeah, just that one.
Shooting dinosaurs is a sin.
It's a sin
I
against
get
God.
I get it, but I'm
I-
like, eh.
Um,
It's just one of the things you can overlook. Like,
I know that,
eh.
but like, if it's stupid. The whole. I say, don't you think that would get you to hell? It's like, no, he
That's
didn't
not
say
how
it.
it was.
He was also so weird about not saying the word.
Bobby
he-
was all like, "What? Are
What?
you going to tell me how it's wrong to kill dinosaurs?" No, I would tell you that killing dinosaurs is a sin. And they all just kind of roll their eyes.
It's like, it would take you to that place. It was like almost if he was afraid to say hell. It's like, we're all going there. I like that. I like the interaction with them. It's like, well, with our our field, that'll take us to hell. Yeah, I like that.
You and I remember that conversation very differently.
Though I remember them specifically saying that, like, they're like, for some reason he didn't say it will take you to hell or something.
I don't remember them saying, "Well, with our job, we'll all go down."
They
They'll probably-
say
We'll probably
hell.
have to rewatch it.
For some reason they didn't say hell, but they were saying like, "Oh, we'll go. Oh, they were under this job. Under our."
You know what?
job or
When
something.
we go to see Superman or the Fantastic Four, we should buy tickets. Like, after we watch Superman, we go back, buy tickets for Rebirth, rewatch it, and just be like,
No,
just-
anyways, it
just to
doesn't
see
matter.
who was right. It is getting a bit long.
It is gonna be like it was. So you already took my least favorite scene.
And you said your least favorite.
Now
scene.
for your favorite scene.
I'd say my favorite scenes are. It's a tie, really, between the Rex River Raft scene and the D-Rex, like its appearance on the dock.
I say,
Like just seeing the size of it, like holy shit.
well, I'd either say my favorite scene was when they were getting the egg.
Oh, from the Quetzal nest.
Yeah, the Quetzalness, and how what's his name dies.
Lecrae.
Lecrae dies, and how the characters actually reacted to his death. It just seemed lackluster how they
Kincaid and Krebs were both like, ah.
It seemed lackluster how Duncan complained about Nina's death.
He was shouting.
I know that, but like he shouted, but nobody else shouted for Nina's death.
Well, they tried. Well,
I feel like Cat
Lecrae picked up her bandana and was like he tightened his fist like around her bandana.
I feel like Cat wanted to tell more about all of these characters so that we can actually be engaged and actually like them.
It definitely felt like he wanted to tell us.
I don't know anything about these characters. That I'm not engaged with Nina. I'm not engaged. I'm not.
Well, even though I didn't know anything about them, I was engaged. I did want to know more about them. Like I wanted to know more, but alas,
there was but anyways, going back to the Quetzalcoatl.
Quetzalcoatlus.
Yes.
Quetzalcoatl at the end. Thank God.
Quetzalcoatlus saying, the fact that he was also just reaching for it.
He was right there on the cusp of freedom, just to get gold.
No, I was talking about how he was how Henry was reaching for the DNA thing.
The vial.
The vial, and how he fell. And hey, I actually thought that the compies were going to kill. I actually thought that the compies were going to kill. See, that's another thing I will say.
Oh yeah,
that would have been cool if like the compies do kill.
Yeah. Another
Henry,
thing
and I'd be like, I'm free from hating this color.
Another thing I wanted to.
It would have been so interesting if the scientists died.
Another thing I want to point out there is that the compies in this movie were a different color.
Yeah, that was.
They had the red and black color.
I noticed right away that they were compies.
They had a different green. Instead of their basic green color, these compies had a more reddish black. A red color with a black underbelly.
What was it? The children next to me, okay? There was the mom and there were the children. She had like 3 of them or not. The kids thought that this man was going to die. They didn't care about the scientist's life or not. Yeah, I was like. I was like, damn, I thought I was being harsh. The compies are gonna kill this guy, really? You want the compies to kill this man?
Kids are bloodthirsty.
It's like, he's gonna die. It's like, no, he lives. Kids, shut up. But they were
probably like, oh no, he's gonna die. Oh no, he lives.
No, it's like, no. They said, "Oh no, he lives." So me and the mom were like, I don't know if the mom reacted.
Kids they no respect for their elders.
But no, she looked at me like, my bad. I like looked at her like, what? She looked at me like, oh. Yeah.
Well,
Anyways,
I definitely think it'll
and
be.
then the vinyl was like,
I definitely think it is a summer
Hat?
film that you will have a lot of fun with.
the vial broken. I was like, what are they gonna? I was actually hoping
What are
the
they
vinyl.
gonna do now?
What are they gonna do with the vinyl breaks? Anyways, the other scene that also tied with it, but not it was over the scene that came close, was when the helicopter was just like at first. I thought that at first the helicopter was gonna have a different fate. I knew that the people were going to die.
Oh, like how Martin Krebs got his gun.
No, I actually thought that like the helicopter people were gonna die a different way.
Oh, the one that the D-Rex tossed.
Yeah, the one. Oh, but yeah, that was. I like the Easter eggs in this film. There was at least two Easter eggs other than the pipes.
Three.
What was the third Easter egg
Uh,
other than the facility?
the facility.
Oh, and other than the Aztec temple.
Yeah, the facility, the Aztec temple, and the helicopter in the tree.
Yeah, the helicopter in the tree. I was gonna.
That's
my actually.
That's how Martin Krebs got the handgun.
Okay, yeah. Despite the engine facility and the pipes and the Aztec temple or ancient temple, whatever. Despite that, the my favorite Easter egg, my favorite Easter egg, Mayan, whatever, the South American temples, island temple, whatever. Though the Easter egg was that there was another helicopter, where that was the first hint that the village was that gave to me that the village was not safe.
It got overrun, yeah.
That the village that was there, something bad happened to the village.
Something bad obviously happened during the evacuation.
And
what happened during the evacuation? That's what I want to know.
I hope that if we do see the extended scene, now what we'll do, if there's an extended version of the film,
when the DVD releases, if there's an extended edition, we'll go back, watch it, and do another review.
Well, we won't do another. Well, we'll do a live stream, but we won't do a dedicated live stream to rewatching the movie. We'll just do a dedicated live stream to something else, but then we'll cover it in that live stream as well.
We can just react to watching it.
No. Anyways,
I'm pretty sure we can watch it.
No, not. I don't have a setup for that. Anyways, yeah, the helicopter scene, it was perfectly done in every single way. Where at first I thought the scientist guy was going to die again. Henry was going to die again. To be honest, his plot armor was his plot armor. It did seem that he had plot armor throughout the film, but the thing is, to me, it felt like his plot armor was actually running thin.
It was very loose.
So,
like he was wearing it loose,
but obviously not thin enough because he survived. So,
Hey, I enjoyed him, so I'm happy he lived. But one thing that
there wasn't
still
enough
eggs on me. One thing that still eggs at me about this film is that they specifically, and this was mentioned a lot in the advertisements as well, is that only the worst of the worst dinosaurs were left behind on this island. So why was Dolores kept there? She's just a harmless little Equalops. And that leads me to my theory about the ending of this film. Now, Equalops rarely ever get bigger than that size. That leads me to
her size was inconsistent between the puppet and the CGI one.
Not really.
You could barely notice it, but like it felt like the size was different. Anyways, sorry.
But that leads me to a theory I have about the ending of the film and how it can lead into the sequel or the next movie, and that
Explore
is
more of the mutants. Sorry.
and that is the introduction of the DX virus. And for those of you who don't know what the DX virus is, looking at your
I don't know. So
in the Lost World Jurassic Park, the original by Michael Crichton, all the dinosaurs on Isla Sorna were infected by a virus, the DX virus, that was slowly killing them off. My theory is that Dolores is a carrier for the DX virus, and that she will slowly, because they were carrying her off the island toward the end of the film,
that she will carry
she will carry the
a
DX
disease
virus
that will affect the human.
that will affect the human race, and they will slowly start dying. And because of this, because humans will start disappearing, the dinosaurs will start to appear more and more as a result, because areas are clearing out for them. Now, what this could lead to is the D-Rex surviving, because think of it like this. The D-Rex could hold the key to the cure for the DX virus. And I think that Dolores inadvertently was a carrier for this, is a carrier for this disease, and that many of the other dinosaurs in this film could also be infected. Now, I'm not saying they all are. I'm saying Dolores could be, and that's why she was left on this island as one of these so-called worst of the worst, because she is a carrier for a disease like similar, if not exactly like, the DX virus in Michael Crichton's The Lost World Jurassic Park. This DX virus may infect humanity, and they have to go back to find and confront the D-Rex and extract samples from it in order to develop a cure, because maybe only the D-Rex holds the cure to the DX virus. That's my theory, anyway.
That's
a film theory.
And because ends the stream. Okay.
But that's what I think this film is leading up to. Is that this was a fun little prelude, a prelude leading into the introduction of the DX virus, and how humanity must race to get a cure before they die off. Similar to the Planet of the Apes.
But then it would just kind of feel like a repeat of the first Rebirth, because they were trying to find a way to cure heart disease. So to find another cure.
Pharmaceuticals is always looking for new cures for medicine. This movie was kind of a shout out, a homage to corporate greed and how medicine,
just like all the other films,
all medicine is held for at a staggering rate. Because nowadays, like, most medicines are charged for hundreds of thousands of dollars, even though they're very cheap to make.
And I would say that would be a.
Well, here's the thing: the first Jurassic Park movie was symbolic of greed.
Okay, well,
even in the books, it was symbolic of greed. And the illusion of control.
Okay.
Lost World Jurassic Park, very symbolic of, again, corporate greed, the illusion of control, and what happens when life pushes back. Jurassic Park 3 is basically symbolic to basically what happens when we don't respect life's boundaries and how our own greed can be our own downfall. Jurassic World is basically
Jurassic: The Lost World. We forgot Jurassic Park: The Lost World.
No, I said
Jurassic Park 3. Sorry,
I said Jurassic Park 3.
Jurassic Park 3 was never about greed, though.
No, I said Jurassic Park 3 was about what happens when we don't respect life's boundaries and how it pushes back.
It's just a rescue mission.
And well, it isn't.
There was no moral lesson to be learned from Jurassic Park 3.
For one thing, the Kirby's Bride grant.
Well, yes, that's the only small greed area.
And they entered the restricted airspace. They violated.
That was illegal.
They violated an area they had no reason to go to. Well, I mean, yeah, they had a reason to go there, but they had no business being here at all. This is a place that is restricted.
To rescue a child because the
child had no reason to be there either. Neither did Ben Hildebrand. I'm saying that this is a place that humanity has no business being in. Humanity is in general.
The Spinosaurus. I'm going to blame the boat rider.
The Spinosaurus is symbolic to what happens when you keep pushing at life's boundaries. Something is going to push back. Something scary, something big, something just as forceful.
Well,
and enough psychoanalyzing everything. This has been our little review and criticism of Jurassic World Rebirth. And we hope you will take the time to enjoy the film for yourself. And if you are enjoying this stream in the future, please feel free to let us know what your thoughts on the film are. Let us know if you agree with Raven's opinions or my opinions in the comments down below, because I certainly don't agree with all of Raven's opinions. And I'm sure he doesn't agree with all of mine. But that's just it.
No, here's the thing.
Different people.
I agree with some of your takes.
I know. I'm saying we don't agree with all of our statements. We're two totally different people with two totally different opinions. And that's fine.
Opinion.
You're allowed to have the same difference of opinion. And you're free to let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below or to the side, depending. So for now, we're gonna have to cut the stream here. But I'll show you this poster once more real quick. You get the D-Rex reaching towards our crew. And until next time, everyone.
Stay tuned for our Superman stream. We'll talk about in that stream we'll talk not only about the Superman movie, but hopefully we'll also compare it to what we'll probably do is either do a stream about the movie itself and then do a separate stream of talking about all the movies.
Yeah.
And then the Fantastic Four.
We'll definitely compare.
Well, it depends. What happens?
We'll definitely cover Superman when it comes out. When we see it, we'll definitely do a similar review to the Fantastic Four when we see it. And until then, go check out Jurassic World Rebirth and let us know whether you think it's a good film or not. And if you enjoyed this video, everyone, please be sure to leave a like, or
dislike.
Or dislike. It's all up to you. But, it helps. It helps us, and it lets YouTube know that you enjoy our videos and you want to see more content like this. And it would also help us out a lot if you hit the subscribe button to help support our channel so we can continue to do more videos like this in the future and just continue in general. Hit the bell icon next to the subscribe button
to be
and
notified.
to turn on all notifications. So
Or personalize your notifications.
Personalize. So you won't miss a beat. You're on the Random Fandom with yours truly in Ravenwood. And until next time, everyone, cheers. Much love as always. We tip our hats to y'all.
Bye-bye.